Where is he? Oh, there he is. Oh, hello, everybody. It's Steve, Hobo with Wood, and this is Hanging with Hobo live. And if you can't tell by the screw-ups, we're live. Oh, my goodness. What a week. What a week. What a week. I hope everybody is fared well this week. It's been a very eventful week. But we're going to do some designing today. We're going to just do some, I'm going to show you how to create some pretty, I think they're really cool optical illusions. Real simple, using some simple tricks in Lightburn. And I like these designs because they can be used in my coasters if I want to do engraving. But what I got to thinking about this week is these are going to be a lot of fun to do with inlays. When I get the CNC bits here, I ordered. The CNC came with some 3 or 4 bits, nothing impressive. I had a pretty good selection of drill bits for PCB boards. If you're into that, I think there was 30 of those. But when it come to carving, there was, I think 5 or 6 20-degree V-bits and a couple of small others, but nothing major. So I did, and someone asked me the other day, said, how long did it take to do that? This was, I think, 16 mil, really super hard Argentine Osage orange. I did this entire piece with a 20-degree V-bit, including the material removal and the engraving. And this was several hours. Well, with the right bits, this can be done in about, I think it was around 30 minutes or so. It's no time, doing all the removal, setup, carving, and everything. You can cut it down to like that. So I ordered my first bits from ICD Woodcraft this week. They'll be here first of the week. So that's what I'm preparing for. And I did take your advice, your suggestions. The majority rule last week the majority said they did not want to see CNC videos on Hobo with Wood. The majority of people said they'd like to see it kept separate. I did that. At the majority request. Now, even for those who don't want to watch the CNC videos, I need you to go over to the new channel and subscribe. You don't have to hit the notification bell, but subscribe to the channel. And the reason for that is I created that special channel because you didn't want to see it. But I don't start getting paid on that channel until there's 1,000 subscribers and I think 4,000 watch hours, something like that. It's something crazy. You gotta have, but I think that's the magic number is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. But the more of it goes subscribe, the faster I can get it monetized, and then it'll be worth my while to keep them on separate channels. Right now, I'm doing twice the work and not getting paid for it. So everybody go over to the new channel and subscribe. And the new channel is, I liked your suggestions last week's, and I think Craig's was my favorite suggestion last week. But when I got to set it up, I ended up going with Hobo with Wood Chips. Thought, hey, that's cool. Keep the name Hobo with Wood, but it's Hobo with Wood Chips. So YouTube, Hobo with Wood Chips, go over and subscribe to the new channel. You can do that now while we're waiting for everybody to get off their laurels and come join the live stream. But Hobo with Wood Chips, go over and subscribe. Go ahead and hit that notification bell. And then later on, if you find that, this is really not that appealing to me, I don't need to watch this, then you can turn off the notifications, but stay subscribed. But these designs that I'm going to show you tonight, and I got a special one that I didn't put in the thumbnail. that's going to be really cool. It's not a bunch of squares. It's a bunch of circles that create a really neat optical illusion. And we're going to do all this in Lightburn. And these patterns can be just engraved, or like I said, I'm going to do these as an actual inlay in my coasters. I've got this set of coasters in particular that I've had for a while, and I made such a nice coaster holder that I wanted to do something really, really nice with the coasters. Because right now it's like, okay, the focal point of this is the coaster holder, not the coasters. And you really, and I might even be making a mistake of doing the inlays in this, but I don't think so. What I'm planning, these are acacia, and I'm planning, and these are made with maple and walnut, and I plan to do a maple inlay in the acacia, and it's going to be these optical illusions that go in the acacia. But I think it'll look good. But I needed to do more than just a simple engraving on these, if I did anything. So the bits aren't here, so I can't do the actual inlays and all that. So I'm going to do this design, show the guys and gals in the laser world how these designs are created. And you can use these techniques to come up with your own versions of similar things. I also realized this week, after creating the second channel, that, I'm already doing alternating time streams for this. And it was pointed out to me this week that I think the other channel is live right now. And that might be why our numbers are a little off. Our numbers are probably a little off. Their numbers are probably a little off because you guys are having to choose which stream you want to watch. And I've been trying my best to avoid that conflict. And this wasn't my rescheduling. This was their rescheduling. But I think in order to appeal to everyone in the Hobo with Wood world, if you don't want to watch the same channel that has the CNC in it, then you probably don't want to watch the live streams with CNC in it. So I said, well, maybe I need to do Hobo with Wood, Hangin with Hobo live, Hobo with Wood at 3, Hangin with Hobo with Wood chips live at 9, and then flip that every other week. So 2 live streams every Saturday. One is about lasers, the other's about CNC, and like I said, flip flop them. So I'm still catering to both hemispheres that want to see different contents, and they'll always be available on replay. It's a lot of work. Boy, it's a lot of work. So I need you to go over and subscribe, and we will see if we can't make it worth everybody's while. I've already got 2 or 3 videos up on the Hobo with Wood Chips channel. One of them is quite humorous. It's very short. I think only 10 minutes. It's a major what not to do. That some people said, well, that's just common knowledge in the CNC world. You're just supposed to know that. Well, if you're new to the CNC world with no previous experience whatsoever, how are you supposed to know that? How is that supposed to be? That's just something you do, No, it needs to be in writing in the instructions. And if it's not in writing in the instructions, then somebody's going to screw it up. And I did. And I made a video about it and contacted Cubiko about it. And they were very, very polite and very nice and expressed your apologies. And I asked them that fortunately nothing was damaged. Just a whole lot of scaring going on, but nothing was damaged. And I asked them about some reimbursement for some of the stuff that, physical things that were lost, not damaged, but lost. And they were like, yeah, no. I said, well, and I noticed, I think it might have been, I forget who it was. Somebody already asking here in stream, which channel will I be giving away the CNC on? It'll be this channel. September 27th, the last Saturday in this month, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So this time slot, I'll give away the Cubiko complete set on this channel in the live stream. It'll be the Cubiko with the standard 10,000 RPM spindle, the upgraded 20,000 RPM spindle, the dust shoe, and the lasers, or the 5.5 watt laser, and the bits that come with it. All of that will be given away on September 27th. But the other thing that Cubiko did is they didn't want to replace the stuff that I lost in the experience that I share on the video. They did give me another Cubiko. So now I've got 2 Cubikos to give away. Only one really complete set with the upgraded spindle and the laser and dust shoe and all that. The one they're sending out, I think, is just strictly a basic Cubiko. So I'll be giving away 2 CNCs. And the other CNC, and I just decided this, the second CNC will be given away on the other channel. So if you're not subscribed to it, you ain't gonna have a chance of winning that one. And I might need to invert those, because the other one's what I've got here now is the nicest complete setup. Maybe I need to give away the basic one on this channel to encourage you all to go over and subscribe to the other one for your chance on winning the nicer one. Don't know. We'll see. We'll play that by ear. So we got a few more people in here now. Let's see, go through these questions that were posted before we get into the design part of this stream. Looky. I've seen some questions, and I think it may have been, I may have already answered them. Yeah, Carl's, it's going to be on the 27th. There will be one given away on this channel on the 27th. Don't know which one. And here we go. Carl had another good question. Is there going to be a separate Patreon level on that site? And thank you, Carl. That is not something that I thought about. I have not put any thought into that process. The CNC world is a different, it's different. The design aspects, where I can use a lot of this, like what we're going to design tonight, I can use these patterns and these designs in MillMage to create the inlays with the CNC, but there's more steps involved. I can't just pull it into MillMage and hit a button and it's going to go out and do its job. You got to create the inlay pockets, and you got to create the female and the male inlays, and do all kinds of different calculations, different bits, different clearing. It's a whole lot more work. And I have not even thought about that yet, because, and to be honest, the reason is this. I was hesitant to even start Patreon at all to begin with, because I didn't feel like I had anything to offer. I didn't feel like Hobo with Wood had any value. I didn't have anything on the website. There, the coupon. Well, what good is a coupon when there's nothing there? But I am blessed and shocked and surprised and humbled by the number of supporters that have signed up as patrons, and they never use their coupon. Never. They are not interested in the discounts or anything else like that. They just like to be able to see the channel and learn new things. So I need to, and because I am a complete and total newbie, if you've ever thought about doing CNC, but you're like, you intimidated, or you're stuck, I don't know, I don't want to jump in it, now's the time to consider jumping into it, because these little, even if you don't win one of the Cubicos, these things are really inexpensive, really inexpensive. And if you jump on board now, we're going to go on this learning curve, this journey together. And you can make the same mistakes I do, or I'll make the mistakes and you learn from them and, keep it to a real minimal loss. But I haven't thought about Patreon and Hobo with Wood chips. Not yet. Not yet. Let's see. Looking for more questions before we jump in here. Because I thought I'd seen some. Here's a question. We'll say, does anyone know if MillMage will work on a vector, and is it worth it being so cheap? Will it work with will MillMage on a Vevor? I'm sorry, not a vector, a Vevor. That I don't know, and that might be if Chris is in the stream. If he hasn't already, yeah, Terry. That's why I said I thought it was Gerbil based, and because it's like Lightburn, so it will work on any Gerbil based machine, which Vevor is. So, but I tell you what, though, Terry, I don't know how cheap those Vevors are, but that Cubiko, it's an impressive little machine for what it is. I'm not against Vevor stuff, but I don't know. I've not had an issue that I've really had to go to Vevor for customer support. I had an issue with this Genmitsu, the Cubiko, and it was cockpit error. It was, hey dummy, you screwed up. I screwed up, but I screwed up because of what was omitted from the instructions. And when I brought this to their attention, not only they say, okay, yes, we've already addressed this in a video, but we are going to update the instructions, and we're going to send you another machine to give away on your channel to help promote. And so that, I think that shows that that's a pretty good customer support. They're wanting to make sure everybody's taken care of. So I don't know if I could say that for Vevor or any tools you get from Vevor. I get them and I use them, but and let's see. Soaking Ray says, give us a link. I tried to give a link earlier. Let me try again. Paste. I don't even know if I've got it set up for even maybe I can't share. I tried to drop it again. How much is MillMage? I don't know. I'm still in the trial period. Was it $199? Terry or Chris? It's on their website for the downloads. I have not been required to buy it yet, so I don't know that right off the top of my head. If you do the Cubiko giveaway on chips, that will get you more possible subs and watch time. Yeah, well, and I'm definitely going to do one of the Cubicos on chips. I just don't know which one. I'll probably give away the base model on this channel and encourage folks to go over and subscribe on chips to get the super, super bonus one. I got to think about that, because now the other thing, because I'm always trying to think ahead. Because I want everybody to have an equal opportunity at winning the nice one. And if somebody, let's say, who is that? Is that Melissa? I can't even got down to, it looks like Melissa that just donated. God bless you, darling. If that's Miss Melissa, if Miss Melissa was to win the base model on this website, then I said, okay, well, now you're ineligible to win the nice one. Then nobody's going to want to try to win the base model. I'm going to have to stick with the original plan. Give away the nice one on this channel, and then give away the second prize on the second channel. That's probably the best way to do it. Questions. Yeah. Ha ha ha. Greg, I liked your suggestion best last week, but whenever I was cleaning up the machine and all those chips everywhere, I said, man, look at all these wood chips. And Chris had suggested something about man glitter last week. And I had heard the reference of man glitter, with sawdust being man glitter, but it didn't sink in or set with me. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Wood chips. Ooh, Hobo wood chips. Bam, there we go. It was born. And if anybody's posted a question or a comment and I have not seen it and went by it, like Craig here put all the exclamation points in front of his comment right there, you're going to need more hours in a day. I'm already seeing that, my brother. Exclamation points in front of your comment makes me see it. Question marks in front of your question makes it jump out at me too. So I don't want to ignore anyone, but let's see. And like I just happened to see this and this doesn't have the exclamation marks, but please alternate Hobo with Wood with the competing channel. I know they changed their day. Just shows, I can't control what anybody else does. All I can do is what I do. And sometimes even what I do, I have no control over. Sometimes I find myself at the mercy of others. So we do what we have to do. But right now, it is what it is, and it's different kinds of content, really, honestly. I mean, I appreciate this time. I appreciate the camaraderie, the exchange of information. I learn stuff from you guys when we do this as well. It's not just me helping teaching you guys. I learn from you. My number one last week was the letter P. That Chris shared with us all. And we all, I think not all of us, but a lot of us put down a number. But I had to put down one last week I learned from Chris with the letter P. I think there's more of an exchange of knowledge. And sometimes it's a knowledge of what not to do. It's design tips. The other channel is, hey, look what we did. And that's cool. That's what the Facebook group, Hobo with Wood Facebook group, is supposed to be about. Come show me what you did. Show off your work. Show off everything that you've made and what you've done. That's what Hobo with Wood Facebook group's about. To come and show off. But anyway, let's see here. Greg says, I'm ready. I don't know. Greg, I don't know what you're ready for there, my brother. Let's see here. Jared Grady, if we're from Canada but have relatives in the States that it could be sent to and I get it from them, are we able to? I will put it this way. And I've said, unfortunately, because of the cost of shipping, I'm only going to ship these in the US because the machine's so cheap. If I have to ship international, by the time you do all that, man, you can almost go buy a machine and have it sent to your door. So if you win and I'm shipping it to the US, that's all I need to know. You follow me? I don't care if it's your ex-wife I'm sending it to. Yeah, I'll send it wherever you want me to send it to if it's in the US. Do the basic here and the full. Do the basic here and the full all on the following week. Yeah, The problem with that, Chris, though, is like, and you may have posted that before. I mentioned the person that wins the base won't be eligible to win the nice one, so nobody's going to want to sign up for that one. Live is every other Saturday, and what is the other? No, I do. I go live every Saturday, Miss Melissa. Every Saturday, I'm live. Tonight is 9 p.m. Eastern time, and I think that's your time zone too. I think you're just up the road. 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. Next week will be 3 p.m. Eastern. Then 9 p.m., then 3 p.m., then 9 p.m., then 3 p.m. And I do that so that, like right now, this is an okay time. It's 9 o'clock Eastern. It's not too late for you. The guys on the West Coast, it's 6 o'clock. It's not too early. It's not too late. But for the folks across the pond, it's just way too late for them. So I go at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on the following Saturday. So they're able to tune into a live stream and contribute and ask questions and not be up at all hours of the morning. So I try to cater to everybody. And oh my goodness, look who is in the stream. Hello, Bob. Glad to see you're smiling. Well, you're not really smiling. You look a little bit official. Glad to see your official face there. Are you going to do the same times on both giveaways? Well, they're both only going to be shipped in the U.S., so it'll be 9 o'clock. The giveaways will be, because I'm not going to do international shipping, and that's the reason I do the 3 p.m. is for the international viewers. Have you found an alternative to Patreon? No. In fact, there was a problem with Patreon this week too. I didn't see it. Who was it? And I'm going to address it in tonight's stream. There was a question from a patron who sent me a request for help, and I've already closed Patreon, about how to save the Lightburn setup the way they want it. And it kept showing I had 2 messages. And I'm looking, but there's no messages. I kept refreshing, nothing. And then tonight, it popped up, populated. I'm like, where'd that come from? Two requests for help populated that I had not seen. So they're doing some stuff in the back end. It's really kind of, and they made some changes I ain't real crazy about. But right now, I don't have another alternative. No, Melissa, I tell you, when I first started, and I was only, I might have been 7 or 8 months into the Hobo with Wood world experience. I was more of a dancing monkey than I was an informer, because I was still struggling and figuring it out. And I'm just like, okay, if you're signing up now, you're just because you like the entertainment, because I didn't feel like I had a whole lot to go with. The libraries are worth the Patreon gold. Well, yeah, I don't see any reason for silver or bronze. I really don't. Gold is, if I was going to be signing up as a patron on Patreon for Hobo with Wood, gold is the way to go. All the files are free. I don't want you downloading $800 worth with a $20 investment. So I regulate how many you can download at a time, because I've had some less than credible people download, $600 or $800 worth of stuff at one time and then cancel immediately after a $20 donation. But the gold libraries, that I share just with the patrons, some of those are really, really elaborate, and they're all designed in Lightburn, so they're Lightburn friendly. I'm not sure if it uses G code. I don't know what that's about, Jeep. Sorry. And then there's Robert. Just a portion of what I earned. Well, brother, you don't. I never. Well, I take that back. I take that back. I started to say I never asked anybody to share anything with them, because all of my designs that you download, especially gold patrons that download all the designs for free, you've paid $20 in your support, so it wasn't for free. Your support got you that access. But I don't license my designs. I don't say, oh, these are for personal use only. One, I don't have time to keep up with that, and I don't have a bunch of people that I can employ to go around the country and say, hey, did Robert use that at a sale that he didn't compensate Hobo for, and we're going to take him to court and sue him for $3 to get... Life's too short for that. So take my designs, make as many as you can, sell as many as you can. And I think I've made the comment before, once you've made your first $1 million, then you maybe say, you know what, I maybe now want to think something about, sliding a little something to Hobo. But God bless you for what you did. I don't need, I don't expect that from anybody. I do not. And there it is. Thank you, Miss Melissa. Thank you. All right. And Jer saying, I would suggest a nice one on with the laser. Oh yeah, you know what? Because it's got the laser too. And I haven't even hooked up the laser yet. I looked at it and seen how it went in and how it gets set up, but I haven't used the laser aspect part of it yet. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do it, stick to the original schedule, the 27th, this channel, the nice one that will be given away. You have a larger loyal group of followers here on this channel. Well, listen, John, it's not about size. Size doesn't matter. Do the basic first and then the full kit later. Again, I don't want to, I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to get that nice one. So it almost has to be the first one. And looking. Here we go. Your Saturdays are going to be extremely... My Saturdays? What you talking about? Man, I don't even know if I've slept this week. Oh. Yeah, I try not to do... You said, what about doing Friday or Saturday or Friday or Sunday? I try not to do much on Sunday if I can help it. I'm trying to keep my Sundays free. Just for a lot of reasons. I'm trying to keep Sundays free. And when I can get some content like what we're going to do tonight, as soon as I get caught up with these comments and the questions and all, we'll get to this design part. And then along the way, if any designs questions come up, we'll go over those. And there were a couple of questions that came up tonight or today with problems with the air assist and Lightburn and, the new macro, because I've never seen these macros until, but there's a few things that we're going to troubleshoot for somebody who posted in the Hobo with Wood group. And also, I don't know. Again, I wished... I'm horrible with names. I've told y'all that. There was another one on Patreon who was having an issue with the display. We're going to go over that stuff too. Let's see. Jim says, I just received the Rolly Lasermatic XW under the shutdown discount. Everything is perfect. I will miss the future products. Thank you, Leo. Thanks. Yep. Yeah, we're all going to miss Leo. And Dave says it's not for me. Dave's in the UK. So, yep, if you're referring to the giveaway, unfortunately, being in the UK, not going to be able to do that, my friend. All right, come on. And there we go. Steve, still a patron here, and I can buy the here. Can I buy? No. And that came up with another question. It's not worth it. The libraries are, some of them are so extensive, I don't even know how I would value them. value them, because some of them, like the dog library the other day, I gave that this month. I don't know, what was there? You guys, there was 20 or 30, or I mean, there were tons of dogs. Some of them were simple line drawings, and some of them were more realistic dog art. And then there was the library, what I did with the military, and I think there was all the branches of the library of the military, a separate library for each branch, had each of their logos and insignias, and then every single patch for every rank and every branch of the military. It was hundreds of pieces in that libraries. I wouldn't even begin to know where to, how would you price one over the other? So no, I'm not going to sell them, but I am giving them away to the gold patrons. And some months are much, much nicer than some are. Somebody says, hey, I'd like a library of this, and I like to go create a library. With the lasers I have and the 5 3D printers, I don't think I have enough room for C. You haven't seen this CNC then. Let's see, is that right? There we go. Now, this, you may have seen the videos from Clack. Clack's done some. Steve Ventari's done some, or Steve Mills from Ventari's Workshop, he's done some. But that's a 100 by 100 millimeter coaster, and there's it. So these things are not big. They're very, very small, but they're very sturdy. They're really robust. And like I said, those stars in there are about 1 millimeter each, or less than 1 millimeter, and really detailed work. So I'm really impressed with what the machine is capable of. And in fact, speaking of Steve, hey, Steve, I'm trying to get caught up with all the comments so we can get to designing. I'll be catching up on chips tomorrow. Well, God bless you, sir. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. If I upgrade to gold, will I be able to go back and get them? No, Wayne, unfortunately, I don't. I may revisit them, but I don't. When I put up a library, I take down the previous month. And I had to do that also because of some less than credible people who would sign up and get, a library and then download 3 other libraries and the files, and then, cut tail and run, and come back in 3 months and get the previous 3 months. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. All right. So no, to keep people from just signing up at the end of the year and getting 12 months worth of libraries for 1 month's worth of support, I have to take them down as I put a new one up. I just have to do that. Otherwise, there's no incentive to sign up. And John clarified for me 113 images in the dog file alone. So, and they were really, really impressive dogs. All right. Now I'm going to put a mark here in this, and we're going to get in here and start designing. And then we're going to answer questions about Lightburn Air Assist, Lightburn configuration on your screen. Why is it not doing what you want it to do? All right. So I've bookmarked where we're at, and now let's go to Lightburn. Now, these are really cool images. And some of us, and maybe a few of you, have been drawing these since elementary school. But how do you create these in Lightburn? And I enjoy stuff like this. The optical illusions, like, okay, how do you get, and like this line, it curves out, curves in, it's convex and concave, and it's got a funky little scallop look going to it. That one uses a tunnel, and there's more that I'm going to do to this one, because you don't want to do that as an inlay down in there. But do we have anybody that's epileptic that watching right now? And then that's pretty cool too. But these are extremely simple to do in Lightburn. And we're going to start over here with this one right here. Now, simply because I got 5 fingers, I work in multiples of 5, and I forget who it was that said they cut their finger off with the saw the other day. So you might want to do this in multiples of 4. I don't know. Getting sleepy, very sleepy, and Steve says he's getting dizzy. Well, I've got some of the circular ones that really get you, but I like working in multiples 5 just because this stroke little brain is just easier for me to work with. So if I see a design, and like when I seen these and decided these are the ones I want to recreate, I look at it and say, well, what do you see? What is it? What does it consist of? And when I look at this image, let's just grab this one. And at first, when you look at it, it's like, okay, there's a lot going on. But it's actually just a square. It's a couple different sizes of squares, but it's just a square. And I'm like, okay, well, let's look at it. And if I'm going to do multiples of 5, if I want to figure out how wide this thing needs to be, if this is 5 millimeters, this is 5 millimeters, this is 5 millimeters. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And I got to count that one twice. 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, 110, 115. So there. If I did each one of those as an offset of 5 millimeters, it's 115 millimeters. So I'm like, okay. Well, and there's, how many ways are there to do things in Lightburn? Anybody? How many ways are there to do one in Lightburn? There's always another way. Yahoo! You always have other options. But I want to show you this one just because I look and say, okay, well, that's 115 millimeters. Jack says, yeah, it's a hobo's way. Well, hobo will get you there, but sometimes you might be dizzy or a little wheezy by the time you get off the ride. All right, so, but we just counted those and said it was 115 millimeters. So let's grab a square. Hold shift and draw out a perfect square, and then tell that to be 115 millimeters. So there's my outline. And I'm going to go to the wireframe mode by using Alt-Shift-W. So it's still in fill mode, but now I just see the wireframe. So there's my 115 millimeter size if I was making those all 5 millimeters. Well, first thing I looked, I said, well, okay, well, there's a line down the middle vertically and horizontally. Well, so if I was to, first, let's go ahead and create the inward offset. Inward offset 5 millimeters and say, okay, do not delete your original. So there's my first 5. And now I can come in here, oops, and get a rectangle and draw out any old size just to get it out there. And let's look at this. Was 115. So this one needs to be, unlock the aspect ratio. It needs to be 5 wide and 115 tall. And we're going to put it in the center. Bullseye it. There we go. And then we're going to duplicate it and rotate it. Control D to duplicate it and less than to rotate it. Now I can take that and weld those together, and then select just the inner one with those and weld those. Nope, not weld it, subtract it. Dummy. Subtract it. There you go. And so now I've got that beginning to shape up. That's just one way to do that. Another way you could do it is if you said, okay, well, if these are 5 increments of 5, and this line right here and the outer perimeter there, that don't count. So if we just come into right here to this line right there, we got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So 50 millimeters. Now watch how fast this goes. So there is the beginning of this. But another way I can approach it, because you always have other options. If I come in here to a 50 millimeter square, and then I'll need to do an inward offset of 5 millimeters and say, okay, now I'm going to hold my control button and click offset again and again and again. And there I've got that square. Let's group those. I've got them grouped. And now let's go to the array tool. And now I want to do 2 columns, and I want to put a 5 millimeter X spacing between them. And I want to do 2 rows with a 5 millimeter Y spacing between them. So that just created all 4 of them and put that 5 millimeter gap in between all of them and say, okay. And then come over here and just grab whatever I said that other one was. I did the math on it, 115. And bullseye it. And now I've got that basic shape. But now I need that other square to go in the middle. Well, I don't even have to do the math. All I got to do is just come here and grab my square tool, hold shift, get my crosshairs in the middle of that rectangle, and draw it out until I get to the crosshairs of that rectangle. And there you have a 55 millimeter square. And now when I go from wireframe to field, Alt Shift W, there it is. It's done. It's done. So instead of creating, and I'm going to duplicate this piece over here, get that back, Control D, duplicate that, and put that one back over here. So I could come in here with this one, with the one we started with, go back to the wireframe, ungroup it all, select this, and if I look, well, lo and behold, there's a 50 millimeter square, which is what I just come over here and drew. So now I can do that same offset. There we go. And group that, duplicate it, Control D, and just drag that until I get it snapped right in the middle. Control D, drag it, snap it, Control D, drag it, snap it. And then draw that rectangle again, or that square again, from snap to snap. So I just showed you 2 ways to get the same result. And that one's really, really easy to do. Oh, so let's go back up here. All right, got that. Yep. Greg says, yeah, y'all hit the thumbs up. Y'all hit the like button. Like, share, and subscribe. Chris, the bottomless pit would be a good place. Ooh, the QR code. You know, that's a pretty good idea there, Mr. Chris. That's a pretty good idea. In fact, if y'all want to, I ain't done it in a long time. I don't like QR codes. I'm too old. I don't like them. And depending on what material you're putting them in and how good you are with your laser, how good your laser is, they don't always work, depending on your substrate, whatever you're putting that on. And if you don't have your LPI just right, or you get a little, I don't like them, but it looked cool. Let's see. Goody, look at that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Hello, Melissa won something. Steve's won something. Terry, Moses. I love seeing the ones. Even there for Chicago Bob's even learned something. That's cool. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you know what's even funnier is I was watching. I've been watching a lot of CNC stuff. IDC's work. There we go. I needed a hit of caffeine. I've been watching Garrett and watching a lot of his stuff and picking up on some ideas and techniques. But I forget whose channel it was I was watching the other night. I don't know if it was on Clack and during Clack and Steve's stream, but somebody populated with a a 1 or a 2. It's like, okay, are people doing this on other channels now? I think I started it by just wanting to keep that algorithm going, because when people just sit there and go to sleep, then it doesn't let me know that you've learned anything. So that's why we do this, folks. If you're new to the channel, when you see somebody drop a 1 or 2 or 3, that's then letting me know that they've actually learned something in this stream. It lets me know that it was time well spent for me and for you. And it also lets the algorithm know that you're still engaged and you haven't turned it on to watch golf and fall asleep. You're actually here and participating. So, way too much morphine. Are you getting sleepy, Craig? Are you getting sleepy? All right, now this next one won't mark my spot. Let's see in here. Bookmark, mark, done. This next one, it's a little bit of twist on the first design, but this one with all the curves and the convex and concave and it's a little bit more tricky, but I think you can get it. I think. So let's switch this back over here. So now let's come in here. And so here, this was the very first one. And we're going to put it back up there. And I designed these in increments of 5 millimeters just because it was easier for my brain to watch, or to count. So I can't say it, but I can count it. But once I have it designed, then I can take this and look at it and say, okay, well, the total on it's 115 millimeters. Well, if I group all that together and I have, if my actual coaster is a 100 by 100, and I want to have at least a 10 millimeter border around it, then that means I need to be, what, 90 mil or 95 mil? Well, let's see here. See, I don't do well with math. I don't do well with math at all. So it was 80 mil. There we go. So if my coaster is a 100 millimeter coaster, put it on tool path. We'll put it on cut path. Shows up a little bit better. And then bullseye it. There we go. So there would be what it would look like on the coaster. You got a nice border that's twice the distance of the thickness of any one of the lines. So I think that looks good proportionally. But also, if I'm going to do this as an inlay, which I am going to do, I'm going to do this as an inlay on these coasters. If I go back to my wireframe mode and get my tool and measure that, that's going to be about 3.5 millimeters. So that's still going to be, a pretty substantial inlay. And being that they're, all straight lines, I don't see any real fragile points or any places that are going to be exceptionally challenging to do for an inlay. So I did them at 5 millimeters just for the ease in math, because I can count them right here if I have to. But now let's do this other with that, because you seen how those were all curved and it really looked funky. Well, let's get rid of this cut line. Actually, we don't even need this one at all. We'll get rid of that. All right, here is that first one we just designed with that inner square right there. I'm going to take that square and I'm going to use shift less than to rotate it 45 degrees. And then this outer square is 115 millimeters. So I'm going to come back to this one that I just rotated 45 degrees and tell it to be 115 millimeters. and that puts it out to that corner and that corner and that corner. So now it's perfectly centered up. And now I got to create all those funky curves to get that illusion going on. And watch what I have to do there. In order to do that, I just do Alt-Shift-W to put it back into fill mode. And look at those curves pop up. Do you see how it looks all funky and curvy? That's the optical illusion part. So all I did was created the first one, and then took the second, and then rotated that and blew it up. Now I got two designs. That quick. Both of those are made from that one same four square output. And if you wanted to, if you were going to try to do inlays and these look like they're going to be a little bit more work and a little bit more complex, and you didn't want to do that, but you see these and they're like, okay, or maybe you're not going to do inlays. Maybe you want to just do engravings, but you just want to get these patterns. All right. And what you can do is if you got 4 coasters, let's duplicate this, Control D. We got 4 coasters. Bring this down here. To make them the same yet different, Alt-Shift-V or Alt-Shift-W to get them in wireframe. I'm going to select these 2 outermost. Oh, got to ungroup them. There we go. So I'll select these 2 outermost pieces and Control D, duplicate them. So now there's just those 2 outer squares are duplicated. Now I want to put them back in field mode, Alt-Shift-W. They're the mirror image of each other. So there is 4 designs that I could do in less than 30 seconds. And you can too, because if I can, you can, because I ain't that bright. All right. I see. All right, going back up to the bookmark. There we go. All right. I'm enjoying a Pepsi Cola soda pop made with real sugar. I hear you. Hobo with wood chips. Let the chips fall where they may. Hey, I like that now. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. Some chevron herringbone patterns would look good for engrave on the back of signs. Would look good on back of signs. Would look good. I like those patterns on circle signs. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do too. Now the thing about if you haven't seen that herringbone look on the circular pieces, those are impressive. They're real popular. Very popular. I do. I do have a couple of those. I've got a couple. I was making Lazy Susans, but that would be cool. Question marks and comments. There we go. Melissa says 3. I've learned 3 things. And where can I purchase a 45 plus box? Yes. Hobowithwood.com. That one's a hard part to remember. Hobowithwood.com/premium Baltic birch. Hobowithwood.com/premium Baltic birch. It is Freiler. It is a box of 45. And unless they're out of it, that's what I use. And God bless each and every one of you who have sent me, material over the last few months. I'm like I said, I've got I got 2.5 boxes that haven't been touched yet, and that's good. Russ hooked me up, and Russ and somebody else hooked me up with some of the Freiler walnut, and I am a huge fan of the Freiler Baltic birch. And I'm thankful for the walnut that I received, but I'll never buy that stuff. Ever, never, never. I do not have any good luck with cutting that stuff. It's not the same quality filler that is in the premium Baltic birch. The Craft Closet MDF, though, as I've told you already, I've had to change my tune and sing the praises of that MDF from Craft Closet. That stuff cuts clean, super nice. This is what's left of a 12 by 19 sheet that I used today, making some lantern inserts for the, I did the Grinch lantern. Well, I've had a friend who's had come up with a new concept, and he's doing interchangeable faces in a lantern, and so he can have it for the same lantern for different seasons. I'm like, super genius. And that's why I love doing collaborations, because I would not have thought of that. I never would have come up with that in a million years. But he's seen that panel and it's like, yeah, done. Yeah. And then making them interchangeable. So he'll sell one lantern and then multiple inserts to go in it, multiple tiles. So somebody will have a Halloween lantern. They can take out their jack-o'-lantern and pop in a turkey, or take out the turkey and pop in Santa Claus or the Grinch. Genius. Absolutely genius. But don't tell him I said that. But that was one full sheet of Craft Closet, and perfect cuts. Let the chips fall where they may. Sounds like they need dust collection. Who framed Hobo? All right. And indoor ply cuts better than outdoor ply due to the different glues used in their construction. All right. Well, the Fryler, I wouldn't think that the Fryler hobby would be any different, but the not so much. I don't like the walnut. Are you going to use cedar fence pickets cut down to size for? Yes, I'm going to do some cedar, but what I'm going to do for myself, and I may find that it might be worth time and worthwhile to sell on Hobo with Wood. Just up the street from me and Jack at West Penn, they have, and we're going to get back to designing here. They have basswood lumber. I didn't know there was a such thing as basswood lumber, but you can go in there and buy rough cut basswood in 2x8s if you want. Actually, 8/4 board, 2 inches thick basswood. The Cubiko will handle 40 millimeters in material. So I'm figuring, at least 4/4 board, maybe 6/4 board, inch to inch and a half, and then, cut it down to size. This is really about as big. You can do a little bigger, but you can't do a whole much bigger than this on the Cubiko. But the basswood, being as soft as it is and as forgiving as it will be, I think will be super, super nice material to learn on. You're not going to make quality product. You're not going to make something like this out of basswood. Not that's going to hold up and last, but I think it would be a great way to start learning. And then I may have stuff like this available for people that once they feel like they've mastered it and they want to start doing some nice stuff. Yeah. Jack says West Penn has everything, and he's not kidding. I mean, they got everything. Yeah, it's crazy. It is a it's a Toys R Us wood shop it's a toy store for woodcrafters. All right. Wrong button. What'd I do? Go away. There we go. Bookmark this, and let's go over and do these other designs. All right, bookmarked. Let's go back over here. So, does anybody need to see this again? Does anybody need to see how quick and how easy that is? Before I move on, before I jump over here to the next one, does anybody need to revisit that? Speak now or forever? All right. So, bye-bye. Now, This one, the infinite cube. Let's get these over here. And Chris says cedar at the moment is as rare as a rocking horse dropping in Australia. That's pretty rare. Pretty rare. All right. This design. This one is a little bit trickier. And the part that makes it so tricky is the way that Lightburn limits you on what you can do with the boolean tools. And I would like to see it handled different, but it's not. And I understand why it doesn't do what I'd like it to do, but I've got a workaround. So first thing I looked at, what is this? This looks like it is a bunch of irregular shaped rectangles that are getting squished and elongated as it comes down. This one's a whole lot longer than this one is. But that's part of the illusion. It's not. They're the exact same size. The size does not change at all. So let's put this in wireframe mode and take a look at this. Alt-Shift-W. And now you can see these are all just offsets of the same square all the way down with radial lines, emanating from the center of the piece. It's not hard. Conceptually, it's not hard, but there is a trick to getting this design to work in Lightburn. So the first thing I did was, well, how many radiating lines were there? So what I did was I counted the lines between the corners. So I didn't count the corner here, and I didn't count this corner here. So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 11 of them between the corners on 4 sides. That's 44 plus 4 corners. That's 48 lines. Did you get that? 11 lines, not counting the corners, 4 sides. 11 times 4 is 44, plus the 4 corners, 48 radiating lines. Easy. So if I want to work with my same multiples of 5, now I need to look at how many squares are there. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 squares. Or let's see, and because I don't think, because I've done stretched this one out and pulled it out and bigger. I don't know what its original size was. So that's why here I just counted. I've got 8 squares, but this one in here counts twice because it's 5 here and 5 here. So it's 9. 9 fives is 45. I do not, Miss Melissa, I do not have a code for Craft Closet, and hobowithwood.com/premium Baltic birch gets you to the Freiler, but that's my Amazon link. When you use that, it goes straight to Amazon, but that's going to give me 3 or 4 cents when you buy that. I don't have a code for Craft Closet. I could get a code for the Craft Closet 3mm pre-finished material. That's on Amazon. Create a code, share that with you. You could go get the same price on Amazon, even if you use my code, and I get 3 or 4 pennies from that. But you get a better price when you buy it at craftcloset.com. The prices are better on their own website than they are on Amazon. I don't have a way to make 3 or 4 cents off of Craft Closet's website. I didn't ask them for any kind of referral code. I did ask them about a discount code. I asked them if there was a code that maybe I could share with you that I could say was like, something like Hobo 10. So if you go over to craftcloset.com and you put in a coupon code of Hobo10, maybe you get 10% off. I haven't heard anything back from them on that, but I wasn't looking at an opportunity to make money off of it. I was looking at a way to save you even more money. I can tell you save money by going to their website over going to Amazon. I could tell you to go to Amazon and give you my code and make money, but that's I'm not here to look at this. Look at this set of calipers. I use these calipers all the time, and they never need to be zeroed. I pick them up; they're always right. The link to them is down below. These are the best calipers you can buy. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you need to use a rotary tool, if here's the link to this rotary tool. This is, yeah, I'm not that guy. I like to share it. I like sharing the knowledge, and I am blessed by folks like Melissa tonight with that generous gift tonight. I'm blessed by those. I don't ask for those. They're greatly appreciated, and I depend on my patrons to be able to do what I'm doing. And those weekly gifts that you guys do are godsends. But I'm not here to sell stuff. And it's like, I don't want anybody using my Rolly code anymore. I want you to continue to go over to Rolly. In fact, I was buying 2 new modules myself this week, and I had to put my truck in the shop. And so all of my laser module money went to repair my truck. So I'm not able to get my modules that I need right now, but I'll get them. But no one needs to use the Hobo code. Everybody just needs to go to rollyautomation.com and buy directly. And that way Leo's keeping all of that money. I don't need any commission from him. He needs to keep 100% of what he's got right now. So back to designing, because that's what I want to be about. Not about selling you something all the time. All right. So we determined there were 48 radial lines, and I got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that one I think needs to count twice is 9. 9.5 is 45 millimeters. I think, let's see what that does. Or is it 90? It needs to be 90. Or is it, let's see. We'll see. Let's go put it on a black layer. Well, God bless you, Tom. All right, let's see here. Now, if I did 90 and come here, my offset tool, 5 millimeter inward offset, and now hold control because I've already set up what my parameters are by doing that first 5 millimeter offset. Now all I have to do is hold control and click on the offset while I'm holding control, and it will repeat that every time I click on it. So now I can look and see, was my math right? I got 1, 2, let's make it bigger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So that's the same setup there. So there's 9 pieces. All right. Now the radial lines. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, because you cannot use open shapes with the boolean tools. If you're going to use your boolean tools, it has to be with objects, and boolean tools will only work with 2 objects or 2 groups of objects. So here, where I just created 9 squares, I got 9 individual pieces or 1 group of 9 squares. But if I've got 48 lines that are open-ended lines that start in the middle and radiate out to the end of it, you can't use boolean tools with those, because it's not a shape, it's a line. So boolean don't work with open shapes. So what do you do? Well, I'm going to grab these right here, the inner ones, and I'm going to group those together for a second, and I'm just going to move them down here out of the way. And I'm going to come and I'm going to get my pencil tool, and I'm going to draw from this corner. holding my shift button. By holding shift, you notice how my cursor is now snapping to 90, 45, or 0, depending on where I am on. So I want to draw a 45 degree all the way down. So snap to right there. Now I've bisected that square. Now, if I take and select that, select that line. I've just selected a line. Now, I said there were 48 lines total radiating from the center. And so if I'm radiating from the center, this is 2 of them already because it's radiating from center outwards 1, center outs 2. So I'll need 24 of these. So holding shift, select my square, come to my circular array tool, and tell it I only need 24. Is it 24? Is that going to give me what I want? Does that give me 40? No, it ain't either. Let's try 48. Yep, 48 is what I want. I lied. I lied to you, and I'm sorry. So you need 48 of those lines. I thought they'd be overlapping. And I'm surely they are. You need 24? Did I try that? Yeah, I tried that. That didn't work. What's 12? Not 241. 12? No. That don't make sense to me. I'm going to come down. We're going to go to 1. We're going to take it to 1. There's 1. Let's take it to 2. And shouldn't have gone all the way down. Let's try it again. Select the line. Select that circular array. And let's start at 2. Oh, well, 2, they're overlapping each other. They are overlapping each other. 2 don't work. See, that's what I was thinking. All right, so we're going to. I've done this. There's always another way. And another way, the real simple, easy way that comes to mind is if I just put a single line from the corner to the center, instead of it going all the way across and bisecting, then I need 48 of those lines. Done. It's easy. That's easy. An even number will overlap. Yep. So I think I did it originally with just doing half a line and 48 half lines, and it's done. So here I was thinking I was going to be slick and just do the whole line instead of 48, do 24, and no, don't work. So let's go back here. Cancel. And here we go. This is and here's another good learning opportunity. Happy little accident. All right, so I've got this line, and it extends from corner to corner. I'm going to take my anchor point, and right now my anchor point is in the very center. I'm going to put the anchor point up here in the top left. So now the anchor point for that line is right here. And I'm going to come over here to this width, and let's see if this will work. Divide that by 2. And look at there. There that goes from that corner to the very center because I just divided it in half. And yeah, I thought about that too, Chris. And Chris is talking about remove duplicates. And if you're not familiar with that, you got file. Let's see, is it here? Delete duplicates or Alt D. In fact, I'll show you that too. But there you can do the 48 and then delete duplicates, and you should be in okay shape. But here, and now I want to put actually, you know what? I don't think the anchor point matters so much here because when you do circular array, you'll see the instructions in a second. I'm going to select this one first, the line, hold shift and select the square. Even though it's a square, I'm doing the circular array. and then it asks you, use the last selected object position as center. So the last thing that I selected was the square. And by having that turned on, it's going to use that as the center of the circular array. And all 48 of those copies are going to radiate out from the center of that. Say, what? Did you get that? So there's 48 radiating out from the center. But the lines are too long, and these are lines. They're not open, or they are open shapes. They're lines that cannot be used with the Boolean assistant. We got to fix that. But before we do, because this is all about learning, let's duplicate that. Bring this over here. Come down here, grab our pencil tool, hold, or start it right there in that corner, hold shift, draw a 45 down to that corner. Then come in here and select that, hold shift, select the square, do a circular array 48 times and say okay. That's positioned correctly. But now when I look, ungroup them, there's duplicates on here. You can't tell it because they're one over. You don't see the ants. It's selected, but you don't see the ants because they're duplicated. So you can select every bit of that, come up here to edit, or hit Alt-D and delete duplicates. 24 duplicate shapes were found. Would you like to delete them? Yes. Bye-bye. So now when you select it, there's a single line. There's a single line. So there's always another way. Always another way. But there is only one way that I think to do what I need to do next. And let's see here. Come back. Let me go back up here to my spot. See, I seen Chris. Yep, the droppings, and no code for that. Nope. All right. And I did say thank you, Tom. Even numbers will overlap. Far out, man. That's rad. And for those that don't know, and I think he's told you there in the earlier comments, Craig's on the good stuff right now. He's on some pain meds. Do 48 and remove duplicates. That's what we just did. Wanted to do that since you mentioned it. Can you do the 24 and then rotate it? Yeah, you can, because there's always another way, but then rotate it how far? You know you need to rotate it so many increments, but it's instead of trying to figure out how do I do that, just doing that, create the 48 and then delete the duplicates. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. All right, so back over here. Now, here's what I'm saying. What do we do? How do we make these lines so that they will work with the Boolean assistant? In order to do that, they can't be lines anymore. So how do we turn those lines into something that's not a line, but looks like a line? Well, I'm going to select everything on there. I'm selecting every bit of it. Then I'm going to come in here and hold Control and deselect by clicking on the left button there, and that deselects that square. So now I've got down here, you can see I got 24 objects selected. That's 24 lines. I'm going to take those lines and come over here to my offset tool, and I'm going to do a 0.02 outward offset and delete the original objects. So a 0.02 millimeter outward offset. It don't matter. You do round or corner. It don't matter. And delete the originals. I got everything turned on and say okay. Now, when you do that, because I told it to group the selection, I've got down here, you look, I did have 48 objects. Now I've got one object. That whole thing, all those are, they're in fact, they're not even grouped. If you look up here, I don't have an option to ungroup or group because it's one object. When I did that offset, if we zoom in good and tight now, you can see how it did an offset of each one of those lines, and where they did where they intersect, they're now grouped as one shape. And Chris says you can do the same thing with a 0 offset. What you talking about, Willis? Are you telling me that if I do a 0 offset on a line, it's no longer a line, it's a shape? Is that what you're saying? Melissa says yes. I know about doing 0 offset, but I didn't know that doing the 0 offset would make it a shape instead of a line. I got another one down on the other side. Well, let's go look at that and see. Because if that's true, this works. What I'm doing works, and by doing the 0.02 or 0.01, and with the way I'm getting ready to do that boolean, all that stuff, and the fact that it's a 0.02 offset, that line at a 0.02, your laser engraving spot size is a 0.08. So technically, this is still smaller than the spot size of your laser. So by doing the 0.02 offset, it's still smaller than your dot size. It's still a line. If you did this and engraved this as it is, it's just going to go bzz, done. Same thing if you did a line, bzz, done, because it's smaller than your offset or smaller than your spot size. And I'm not going to be using scissors, Jeep, but I want to go look and see what Chris is saying. If the 0 offset will change that from a line to a shape. So come over here to this. And since these are the individuals, well, it's one object. But see, I can ungroup these. So if I ungroup them, come on, and so can I select one? Yeah. So these are 48 individual lines. Oh, y'all looking at me. Y'all don't want to look at me. That's what y'all want to look at. Golly. Chris says my YouTube tab just crashed. Oh no. And Chris says we'll change it as it is the same. Will a different what? Are you on the good meds? We'll change it as it's the same. Will a different? All right. Okay. That with not with. We'll change it as it's with a different position. Go outside and fire up another one, Chris, and come back and tell me what you're talking about. Yeah. Chris is crashing. You know what? And it's funny you say he's crashing. It's 9 or it's 10. Well, actually, no, it's about 10 in the morning for him, I think. He shouldn't be. And Greg said 702. I guess he's learned 702 things. Boy, we got y'all. Well, yeah, y'all having too much fun on a Saturday night now. Y'all got to stay sober when you come over. We're playing with lasers here. Yeah. And somebody else already said something about losing a digit last week. We don't need anybody losing anything else. All right, let's go back over here. So these were all grouped a minute ago. I ungrouped them, and now you can see I can select individual lines. And with these individual lines, instead of select another way, a minute ago you see me select all of that, hold control and come in here and deselect the square. Another way you can do it is come back in here and get in between these lines right here and drag from the left, from the right to the left, staying inside that square, and that will pick every one of those radial lines out. So now that I've got all those done or selected, let's see what he's talking about. If I do a zero offset, delete the originals and say okay. See, it's still individual lines, but let's group it. So those are lines. If I group them and now hold shift and select my square, no, I can't use the boolean tools. I don't know what you smoking tonight, Chris. I'm missing something somewhere. Or what I'm trying to do, you didn't realize what I was trying to do. And Melissa says, we'll change it as if it is the same, but with a different position. Well, I don't want my position to change. And a zero offset usually just takes and creates a duplicate, getting rid of any imperfections or problems. But I was also expecting that to possibly be grouped. But those are still individual. I got them grouped now, and it's not allowing me to use the boolean tools. I'm sure it has worked for me in the past. Maybe fixing something else broke it. And that's highly possible. Highly possible. Because as we improve things, other things sometimes fall by the wayside, or sometimes improvements go backward. Sometimes. But so in this instance, from what I can see, a zero offset, and I use zero offset all the time to fix problem files. That's one of the first things I do. If somebody sends me a file and they say, I've got all kinds of problems, I got open shapes and all kinds of problems. Now, Chris, you might have been thinking of that, because that's what I do. I will do a zero offset to fix open shapes. Now I guarantee you that's what you were thinking about, because I don't think you realize what I'm getting ready to do. These were straight lines. This is a beginning. It has an origin here and an end point here. It has two green nodes on it, a beginning and an end in one straight line. But if I take this square, convert it to a path, show my nodes. Well, actually, first, show my nodes. You can see you've got one origin point, boys and girls. And Chris knows this. You got one origin point, one green node. If I, I'll start to show you. And actually, I will. We put it in fill mode. And I go to nodes. If I come over here and I hit B for break, well, it's broke. Come down here and hit B for break. There's what I was expecting. Now, if you look, I've got nodes. I got two green nodes. This is an open shape. I draw a square, convert it to a path, and I go up here to edit. If I try to close path, it's grayed out. You cannot close the path because it's already closed. But if I come over here to this one and look, edit, I have the option to close path because it is an open shape. We know it's open because I just broke it at the nodes, creating the open shape. I can click on close path here and close the path, or, and this is what I do, first thing I do when people send me files with problems is, it says I got 342 open shapes. What do? Select the whole thing, and come over and do a 0 offset, delete the original and say okay. And then when you go to look at edit shapes, oh, look at there. Close path is still an option. Just because I said it would work and decided not to. But that will almost always close the path. And then you can fix 90% of your problems. But because we're live, it ain't going to cooperate. But a 0 offset will typically close the path on an open shape. But it ain't going to do it tonight just because we're live. Now it's closed. But I think that's what you were thinking about, Chris, is when you have an actual shape that's open, 99 times out of 100, a 0 offset will close that shape. But that's not what I needed to do here. So let's get back to what I'm trying to do, what I need to do. So Alt-Shift-W back in wireframe. So this one up here, I've already done that 0.02 offset. Let's come down here to this one. This one, drawing from right to left. Oh, I've already grouped it, I guess. Let's see. Did I group it a minute ago? Yep. All right. So that's all grouped. And if we go in real nice and tight, you can see that's just a single line. So if I come in here now and we go to offset and let's do a 0.01. And if I zoom in tight so you can see it, and we need to do outward offset, you see there? There's my original line, and we're doing a 0.01 offset. But the reason I did 0.02 is you see how this is a little bit smaller than this side is over here? It's not divided evenly between a 0.01 and 02. That's a little bit, it's still off a little bit, but that's more centered. That's why I do a 0.02 and delete the original. And now I've got those closed paths. All right. Now that I've got the closed paths, I need to create the triangles that I need radiating down through there. Oh, wrong button. Alt-Shift-W. Oh, come on. Make sure. I don't know what all I've hit. Can you hear me? Did I mute anything? I don't think I did. No, I didn't mute it. All right. I see it now. Questions and comments before I move on. Yeah, Jer. Would doing a circle around work get to join them and still no. No, because they're lines. You cannot use the boolean tools with lines. You had to do the offset and delete the lines in order to make it a shape to work with the boolean tools. All right. So now done and back here. Alt-Shift-W. All right, there we go. All right, I want to make sure I'm in the right spot. There I am. All right, let's get away from the node editing. Done. All right, now that these are shapes and this is a shape, I can now use my Boolean tools. So if I hold, or if I select the radials and then hold shift and select the square, and then come over here and get the Boolean assistant. Because, you know, which one do I want? Do I want the union? Nah, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. That's what I want. And say, okay. But this is not, if I put this in fill mode, Alt-Shift-W, I've just got a bunch of radial lines in here that aren't filled with this. And that's not what I want. So how do I get this? How do I get every other one filled and then every other one down filled? This is if and let's look at just the squares. So it's in fill mode, and every other one gets filled. As you create an offset and come in, filled, not filled, filled, not filled, filled, not. Guess what happens with the radials? Every other one can be filled. But to get that illusion that we want, we're actually going to create a separation. Alt-Shift-W, put those back. There we go. Now I'm going to select just the radials. Is that just, yeah, that's all one piece. This is a 90 millimeter square. And when I did my Boolean tools, when you use the Boolean assistant, if you use a square, outer square, or circle, whatever, as a cookie cutter to cut out what you want, remember, it's gone. It no longer exists. This is an 88 millimeter square that I've got here. And if I want that perimeter, then I'd have to recreate it because it's gone. Once you use your Boolean assistant as a cutting tool, that cutting tool no longer exists. But right now, what I want to do is have every other radial filled. So now if I ungroup this, did that go away? Yeah. So now I've ungrouped it, but that is one solid piece because of the way I use the Boolean tools. So if I Control Z, put that back. Now all I got to do is come over here. If I start here at this corner and select that outer line and delete, skip that one, delete, skip one, delete, just all the way around, select every other one and delete it. Then when you get to your corner, you're keeping that one, you come over here and delete that one. Keep doing that, every other one. And another, you can actually, instead of doing, I was selecting and deleting, I can hold Shift, select, 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 and go ahead and delete so I know where I'm at. Shift, select, 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 and select, and delete. So now I've got every other one. It disappears because you don't have the cutter in the oven with cookies to cook them. Dude, I'm glad you're enjoying life tonight. More power to you. Life is short. Enjoy it. All right, so I've deleted every other one. And if I look, what was that size? That size was 88 millimeters. So if I grab a square and draw out an 88 millimeter square, I don't know if all that's grouped. Let's group it. And now center that up. That looks exactly what I had just a minute ago. But when we go to fill, hey, looky, 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 looky there. Yeah. Amen, Jack. All right. So there you go. There's the beginning of that. We've already done these offsets down here of that other square. Are they grouped? Yeah, they're grouped. Let's bullseye it. And looky there. That quick. The tricky part on doing this optical illusion is getting the radials around that square And if you're going to create your radials, you want to create your first radial from the corner to the center or from corner to corner. Doesn't matter. Corner to center and do 48 copies, or corner to corner 48 copies, and then delete the duplicates. Then the trick is remembering to convert them from lines to a shape by doing a 0.02 offset, delete the originals, then use your cookie cutter, cut those out, delete every other one. You've already done your 5 millimeter, inward offsets, and you get that. Now, let's see here. At the start, when you did a line and did circle array, if you started with a triangle, then did array, would that work? If you knew what shape the triangle needed to be, if you knew the exact geometry but the problem with that is they change. That when it's out here at 10 o'clock, it's a really long, elongated one. When it's straight up and down, it's a much, much shorter triangle. So it'd be a lot more. Could you? Yes, you could. You could create a triangle. I don't know if you could do it though with the circular array, because they're all slightly different shaped. I don't think a circular triangular array, I don't think would work. I don't think, because you're creating the triangles with the way they intersect with the straight lines and the square. And I think the angles all vary. And then the reason you start your line at the corner and go from corner to corner or corner to center is because that is the longest line. If you went from 12 o'clock to center, that's the shortest line. And if you did a 12 to center and then did a 48 array, the lines are not going to reach out to your corners. Follow me? Come back over here. Swap. Alt-Shift-W. So if you're going to do a line, like I said, you're going to start here at the corner and hold shift and come out at a 45-degree angle till you get right there in the center, and then click again to stop. And because that line, didn't want to draw another one, select it. If I rotate that line to 45, let's put the anchor point at the bottom right. So my anchor point for that line is right there. And now I rotate that clockwise 45 degrees. So I'm going to rotate this straight up 45 degrees, rotate 45. See how long that line is there? And if I had drawn a line from here to here, and in fact, let's do that. Let's cut that line. So if I drew the line from there to center, and now you need to rotate that 45 degrees, put your anchor point at the bottom and center and rotate it 45 degrees. It doesn't reach your corners. So that's why you draw from the corner out first, to make sure all of your radials will be long enough. If you do a triangle, the corner ones will have a different shape than the others. Yeah. Triangle. At first I said, yeah, you could, but no, I'm not going to say it can't be done doing another type of circular array, but this is, and trust me, when I tell you I figured out how to do something, it's usually one of the simplest ways to do it. You know why? Because I'm simple. I don't got no higher education. Typically, I'm simple and I'm lazy. I'm going to try and find the easiest way to accomplish something that I can, because I don't want to work hard. So, but I will never tell you that this way, my way is the best way or the only way, or this is the way that it should be done. Anybody that says that this is the way anything should be done, unless they're building an atomic bomb, especially if it's artistic, creative, something like this, and they say, oh, no, this is the way to do it. Hey, you're full of yourself. Get out of the way. There's always another way. Always another way. All right, so back over here. Now, I told you I wanted to do something different with this middle. So Alt-Shift-W, we put that back in fill mode. Because if I'm going to do this on a coaster, and it needed to be, is 100 millimeters, did 80 mil. All right, so if that's an 80 mil coaster, or with a, I'm just talking all out myself. Let's draw a rectangle, 100 millimeter. Put it on a cut path. Put it in the center of that. There we go. So there is my 100 millimeter coaster. This is going to be, and I'm going to, if I want to do this, especially if I'm going to do this as an inlay, you don't want no itty bitty pieces. All right. You don't want anything that's so fragile you got to worry about it breaking off while the machine's just trying to create it. And that's what would happen in here. So let's Alt-Shift-W wireframe mode and use our measurement tool to measure across right here. From here to there. That's 7/10 of a millimeter. 7/10 of a millimeter. That's entirely too small to be trying to work with inlays. And then plus, Chris mentioned doing this would be a great place to do the codes. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to come from right here, drawing from the right to the left, touching all of the radials and that inner square. Well, actually, it's all grouped. We need to ungroup it. Dadgummit. There we go. So again, right to left. Now I can hold control and deselect that square. Make sure all of that is grouped. And now that all that's grouped, hold shift and select that square. And look at my boolean assistant. That's an option. That's an option. Let's look at that and say, okay, Alt-Shift-W. So now that gives me a solid place in there. And that should be about 7/10, I think, but getting bigger as it goes out. Gives you here. Yeah, 7/10. But this out here is going to be a full, almost 1.5 mil. And that's doable. The stars on my coin tray, they are about 7/10. So that's doable as an inlay. But if you didn't want to have it that small and you didn't want to make it that challenging, well, then you can just hold shift and select that square again and go over and do that again. Alt-Shift-W. And you have that option. And if you wanted to do those codes, and we're not, I'm going to do some more shapes. I'm not going to go into those codes. Like I said, laser tools. Is it in there? Where is that? Tools. I really don't like them, and I don't do them. I have done them. It's right there. Yeah, create barcode right there. You could create the barcode and put it and position it in there, and that'd be kind of cool. But I don't like codes. But that's how you would do that, clearing out that inner space just using that one of those squares or two of those squares to cut away the smaller pieces that you don't want. Now, what you could do, you could use it for the codes, or instead of a barcode, you could even cut out one or two more of those and use them for monograms. How cool would that be? If you wanted to put, let's go to Alt-Shift-W. Let's select this, that's that. And actually, let's go ahead and we're going to just simply delete this one and then come into this one. What size is that? That's 36 mil. Let's delete it too. How big is this one? Okay, that's 45. That's not quite 2 inches, but let's do that. Let's say this, subtract that. Or union, I should say. And say okay. And Alt-Shift-W. And then come in here and put you a monogram inside there. That would be kind of cool. There's all kinds of ways that you can use these shapes. But let's move on to the other one, because I've already bored a good number of the people, or they've flipped back over to the other channel if anybody's still over there. And this is what's bad. You know, both channels are probably suffering tonight. Chris says he doesn't trust QR codes too easy. Yes, yeah, I don't use them. Our classroom's on the second floor. Dude, what are you smoking tonight? What are you on? Hey, do you, brother? Okay, let's look at this other design. And if y'all, I've got another really cool. Wow, we're 2 hours in already. I'll tease you with this other one, but I'm gonna show you this one, this last one, because it's not too terribly difficult. So let's see, switch, Alt-Shift-W. I'm on Alt-Shift-W. There we go. And let's clean up all of this. In fact, I don't even need these. We don't need any of this. Let's bring this one down here. And I'm just going to blow it up. Make it a little bit easier for these old eyes to look at. And Alt-Shift-W. All right, now this one is a little bit trickier, a little bit, but it's not terrible. But it's, as you see, it's not actually squares. It's parts of squares. You actually got 4 squares turned on the side here. But yeah, no, what is it? All right. So I'm going to Alt-Shift-W. Let's grab all of this. And right now it's grouped. We're going to ungroup it once. Yep. Okay. So this piece right here, the width on it is 96 point. Well, it don't even matter. We're just going to do 100 millimeter. We're going to do a 100 millimeter square. Do a 100 millimeter square. Put it on the black layer. 100 millimeters. All right. Now I got a straight line across there. I got a straight line across there. But then I've got, it's a triangle. Well, I'm going to come down here, hold shift, draw a straight line. It doesn't even matter if I go out here beyond it. Don't matter. Come over here, get my corner point, and there. Now I'm going to use, now I'm going to do some offsets. Let's come in here and do, I did 100 millimeter. Let's do offset 5 millimeter inward. Do not delete the original and say okay. And then do, actually I should have looked at how big that, because if I'm going to do them in 5 millimeter increments, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should have been 50 mil to begin with. I'm going to leave my X alone. I'm going to do this and tell it to be 50 mil. There we go. I didn't have my anchor point in the right place. See how it jumped down here instead of staying in the center? It's because my anchor point was down here at the bottom. So Control Z, put that there, and then tell it 50 mil. And that'll just shrink it down to the middle. Now I will do my offsets, 5 millimeter. Do not delete the original. Holding Control and do it again and again. And do I need to do it again? Yeah, I need to do it one more time. Offset. Good. Now I'll use my scissor tools. Now this, pay attention. Pay attention. Stop. All right. Grab your scissors. Get rid, and it can't be grouped, because if anything's grouped, scissors aren't going to work. So cut away that, and we don't need that or that. We don't need anything on the vertical. So anything that's straight up and down, get rid of it. Now on the horizontal, oh, wait a minute. I need to keep that one up there. And when I cut that, there we go. What? Chris, that drives me nuts. If you're still here, Control Z. When I highlight that with the scissors, only that vertical line is what's showing to be cut, but it's wanting to cut the whole blasted thing. So when you find yourself in this position, ladies and germs, simply go over and get your node editing tool, select that line that you were trying to do. Come on, right there. And you can see and there's why. There's my origin node for that square. So when I cut this and it's cutting that origin node, it deletes. That's why it's deleting that. But if I just come down here to this, all right, actually, I see now I got a whole line going in there. But that's weird. I made a triangle instead of deleting that out. But if I delete this node right here, just hover over that node and hit the letter D. Done. It got rid of that line that was going up that, and I've still got my piece up here. But I think that's duplicated. It is. That's funky. That's funky. Funky Cold Medina. All right. I'm on should be able to just hit D for delete. Get rid of it. Nope. It's still, if I go back up there. No, it's right. But it looks like there's a double line there. I just don't look right. All right. Something don't look right. But ultimately what we're trying to get to, let's go down here. We'll see where we get when we get there. That looks like there's two lines there, even though it's not letting me delete. I want to have solid up here. So if this piece is solid, then this has got to be cut off. And this has got to be cut off. Then this is a solid one. I need to cut this one off and cut this one off. And there is a double line up there. Something's going on with that. There it is. Now I can cut it and get rid of it. That is so freaky. So there's a solid piece. There's a solid piece. There's a solid piece. So this needs to be open. Then this one is solid. This one's open. This one's solid. So I need to get rid of that and that. So now I got 3 and 2. These two would be what would be up there. Is that line doubling back over itself? That could be why it's staying with them. I don't know what was going on. I didn't have this problem before when I did this, but I just kept cutting it away and we got it. It's got the result that we wanted. But ultimately, you wanted to cut away every other one and go all the way down so you end up with 3 solids and 2 solids. Go ahead, and those are all closed shapes, and we can group them. Those are grouped. And now, actually, you know what? I take that back. Take that back. I'm not going to group those, not like that. You need to group these three and then group these two. These two we're going to bring over here and we're going to rotate them. And if I bring this up here and I put those touching one another, I snapped them together. And did I use 5mm offset? Let's get the measurement tool. Yeah, 5mm. So my movement tool or my movement shift arrow is 5mm. Say okay. So I want to move this down 5mm. Holding shift, move it down. So now that puts it where it's lined up with that one, but it's lined up across there. And it needs to be moved over 5mm. There. There's going to be 10. Nope. 5. So there it's down 5 and over 5. So those are positioned where they need to be. But I need to now. Oh, what? You know what? Am I missing? No. No, I'm not. Boy, that's confusing. Yeah. God bless each and every one of you for being here. You are committed. You are committed, or you need to be. It was confusing me, and you'll see why it makes sense in a second. The other triangle is what's going to form the X. So with these two, they're positioned where they need to be. I can group those now that they're positioned correctly. Control D, duplicate them, and then mirror them horizontally, and then bring it down. And then I need to dock that tip to that tip. And since I just moved it straight down, I should be able to just dock it straight up. There you go. So now that creates that image. And there's that and that and that. Now I need to ungroup them. This one is the more difficult one to do. Did I just group them all again? Yep, let's ungroup them. Select those, duplicate those, or group them rather, and select those and group those. Now with that duplicated, Control D, rotate it, snap it in there. Select this one, Control D, duplicate it, rotate it, and snap it in there. Come on, snap, baby, snap. Snap, baby, snap. It ain't snapping. It's not going to snap. I'll grab my corner and put it on that corner. There. So now I got those two. Group all that. Duplicate it. Rotate it. Bring it down here. Make sure they're all centered. And then dot that one straight up. Did I get that right? Alt Shift W. Yep, there we go. Boy, that one's a little bit more difficult. That one's a head scratcher. That one's a thunker. That one is a thunker. Yeah, Rick says, I guess he says, I need to be, when I talk about some of you need to be committed. All right. So there's 4 designs. It's too late to do this tonight. I'll do it in another one, but I want to show real quick. Dadgummit, I hate that it's been this long. Chris, you might be able to answer this if you're still with us and you haven't floated off somewhere. People have been talking about having problems with their air assist not working with the Rolly since some of the updates have been done. And I have not noticed this because I don't use macros. But at some point in the macro menu, 2 buttons have appeared for air assist on and off. And some folks were saying, oh, well, I need to use M8. No, I need M7. I need M8. And when people were like, well, depending on which one they have selected in their setup is the one they need to use. And I don't know if this is their problem that I was asked about today or not. But for those who haven't seen it, if you go to your macro menu, you got turn on air assist, and turn off air assist. And you can manage that right here with the manage button. And you can use this to edit these. So turn on air assist is highlighted. And if I go to edit, right now to turn on air assist is set to M7. So that's what that macro is M7 to turn it on. If I go to my setup, my devices setup, so devices. Was it in devices? Basic. It's not there. Where did I see it? It was in here. Right here. There it is. Sorry. Yeah. Basic settings. Air assist. Right now, I'm configured. Select the command to generate air assist is M7. So my M7 is set up in my basic device settings to turn air assist on. And the macro is set to M7. But if people have one setting at M8 and the other one is set as M7 and they're clicking to turn it on, well, that ain't going to work because you're sending mixed signals to the, and that might be what was going on. And I had somebody in the Facebook group reach out early this morning and I responded within a minute and they were like, oh, wow, I didn't expect to hear back from you so soon because they had already asked for help in the Rolly Automation Facebook page and no one responded because I think all the good people realized what was going on and they're not there anymore and nobody's there giving any good help anymore because it's not the official Rolly Automation Facebook group. So you're not going to find much help there unless it's probably something you pay for, probably. But that's what if you have a Rolly, you need to go to your device settings. And let's see here. I think the M7 and M8 is related to settings. Not sure though. Yeah, well, from the way I understand it, Chris, it could be M7 or M8, depending on how your control board is configured. Rolly is supposed to be set up for M7 to be on. Because you're on the Rolly, your air assist, as you know, the air assist on is controlled. The power is controlled through the control board. You don't have a separate power brick for the air assist. So you have to have the M7 command to turn on the air assist. And she said her air was working and now it doesn't work anymore. And I think she said it was after an update that was done. And I think that you could have a communications issue where the Rolly is configured for M7. But if you can do either one, I don't understand how that's possible. But I think it's a matter of which one, as long as you've got it configured correctly. Here, I've got M7. Support for the M7 command is not enabled in Gerbil by default. This will result in errors unless your version of Gerbil has support enabled. Are you sure you want to do this? No, I don't. But cancel that. Whatever I just did, cancel. Go back, device settings, basic settings. See, mine's already defaulted to M7. That's where my settings, that was the default. That's where it's at, and my air assist works. But when I just now selected that, it's telling me, hey, this is not right. Are you sure you want to do this? Well, I didn't change anything. It was already M7. But someone else was helping her today. Cancel, put it back. And they were telling her that they had to be on M8. And I think the way I understood it, oops, wrong one, stupid. If you go in here and you go to your basics and you tell that to be M8, and that's fine. Then you go in here to these macros and turn air on, edit, and you tell that to be M8. As long as everything lines up, I think it might still work. But with the way my configuration is, I'm configured at M7 in my device settings and M7 in my macros, and it all works. So if you're having trouble with your air assist, with your Rolly in Lightburn, check and make sure that all of that jives. I would do the M7 because that was my default. That's the way the factory is. And I'm not a tech guy, but the way I understand it, the board can be configured for either or. I didn't think it could be, if it's M7, then it shouldn't ever work for M8. I wouldn't think. I don't know. If it worked before, it will be the problem of preferences file not updating properly when doing a Lightburn update. Just reload the preference file from prior update. Yeah, it sounds that, you know what? That is elementary for you, my dear. Elementary for you. 98% of us out there don't got a clue. Well, I know what you're talking about, but I have not gone back and reloaded preferences or done it. I've never done that in 3 years. I've never done it. I know what you're talking about. I've just never had to. I've never had to go back and reload any of that stuff. But that's where the confusion would be, though, is that would be that preference is somehow it got switched to M8 when it should be M7, or, but that's what I would look for. And then if you have a setting in Lightburn, or you want your page to look a certain way, go over here to Lightburn and let's get rid of all this. And right now I've got macros is what's open. And here's my cuts and layers. And then here's my laser controls. There's these two menus. If I wanted to have shape, let's do my variable text. So I want variable text to be down here and dock it right there. And I want my variable text to be what's always right there. I want my laser controls to be back up here. And I don't need shape properties. I'm going to close it. But I want my variable text to be right here. That's the only thing down here now is variable text. And I always want it to be there because for whatever reason, I use it all the time. And I want that to always be there. And I want my cuts and layers and my laser control to be right there. Set that up the way you want it to be. Got everything. And then close Lightburn. Now, when you open Lightburn back up, that's how it's going to populate. If I want this to be my cuts and layers down here, get it, Doc, there we go. So I want cuts and layers and variable text right there because those are the most common pieces that I use, and I don't mind toggling back and forth between those. And I want my art library to be right there. Fine. Close. Open Lightburn back up. And there's my cuts and layers and variable text in my art library. Set it up the way you want it to be, and then close it, and that's going to save it as your preference, and that's how Lightburn will load your screen every time you open Lightburn. If you close it with a hodgepodge of stuff, that's how it's going to open up on you. Yours doesn't stick, Melissa. Are you working on a laptop? There's a couple of, you're on a Mac. Okay. All right. Is it a desktop or, because a Mac can still be a laptop, can't it? I'm not a Mac person, so don't make fun of me if I don't know what I'm talking about. But is it a laptop Mac or is it a desktop Mac? It's a desktop. All right. So it's just what I was about to say. Chris said it's a resolution issue. And I ask about, because with any time that it's a desktop, it's always because of resolution. I haven't seen an issue where resolution comes into play with desktops because they're usually much higher resolution and it's not a problem. And for folks who are struggling with this with laptops, as I have a laptop, and I finally just learned to deal with a lot of the monkeys that were a problem in Lightburn that were resolution related. I upgraded to Windows 11 and 98% of those problems disappeared. They are making, and I noticed in the last version of Lightburn that just came out, that I just uploaded, that if you look at the list of things they're fixing some of the scaling and resolution issues and some of the stuff as they're fixing these updates. So, but if you're using Windows 10, and I think they even, if I'm not mistaken, did Lightburn say a few months back that, you know, if you're not on 11, that, you know, hey, stay down here, don't upgrade, and, you know, that you need to be on 11. But increase your screen resolution if you can. Miss Melissa, if you can increase your screen resolution, your display resolution, and see if that will make a difference. And because we'll grab this one and you get over here, and now you're trying to, you're like, it won't pop into place. It won't pop. It is a screen resolution issue, and you can go, I would actually try it on your physical monitor display settings, check and see what see if you're at your highest possible resolution with the screen itself. And if it can't be done with just simply changing your screen resolutions, it may actually be a graphics card issue, I guess, that you just can't get high enough resolution. And that's just one of those, and you're not using Windows, so I can't say go to Windows 11 to fix it. So, and yeah, Chris is saying, yeah, I thought it was staying under 2.0 for Windows 10 because 2.0's got a bunch of aggravating problems with it. 1.7 or less for Windows 10 is what I would say. I don't know what Lightburn's saying. All right. Well, boys and ghouls. It's about that time of year too. A bunch of ghouls running around. But yeah, Melissa, if you can't increase your screen resolution enough on your physical display, you can change the settings. And I don't know how well or if it will make any difference in not there. See there, not there, not there. There. Yeah. What about Chris? What about this? If Melissa goes to her settings menu, which is the gears, if you go to the gears and you got your display setting over here, you can change your tool size. You can change your cursor size, font size. I don't see that. Okay, round high DPI scaling to the nearest integer. I've got both of those turned on. And then for some of For some of you old farts out there, if you're having a problem seeing and you've got a nice high resolution screen, using that display setting in the gears, you can change your icon size. See how my icons are getting bigger? I just made them all 5, and all the tools just got a lot bigger. And that's a whole lot easier for my old fart eyes to see. And then you can change your cursor and node sizes, font size. But I don't see anything in here that might help with the docking. But Chris says, yes, the 2 settings above the sliders and using the sliders fixes it 90% of the time. So yeah, enable. So make sure, Miss Melissa, that you have enable high DPI scaling turned on, round high DPI scaling to the nearest integer turned on, and both of those say it requires a restart. So turn both of those on, say okay, close Lightburn and restart it. And then he says using the sliders fixes it 99% of the time. So the curve quality, I've got mine set at perfect and my font size at 5, or yeah, at 0 rather. And Miss Melissa says your Lightburn looks different than mine. Well, that's probably a difference in Mac and PC. But if you go and what version of Lightburn are you on, Miss Melissa? Have you upgraded any of the 2.0s, Miss Melissa? Are you on 2.0, 0.03, or where are you at on versions, Lightburn versions? Okay, so that's what I'm on now too. So I'm on 2.0.03. If you go to the gears, you should see display and then turn on both of the enable high and round high DPI. Does yours not look like that? It does not. Okay, Chris, is that because she's on a Mac? Do you have any Mac stuff there, Mr. Chris, with all of your thousands of computers and testing equipment? Chris says it will look slightly different due to the resolution. Steve, I am on 2.0.03, but I have a large gap in my side menu. Okay. I don't got no gap. But I wouldn't think just because the I would think she'd have these options under her display. It might look a little bit different. It says, okay, on the right, it shows full green line cursor, then shows rotary enable. Oh, full line screen cursor. Yeah, full line screen cursor, rotary enable. Main window on the, yeah, cylinder correction. And main window, then show work area on center cross. Yeah. And I got those 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the next 2 are enable high DPI, enable around DPI. You've got these first 4, but you don't show these. Yeah, I've got the curve. There's the sliding curve there. Nothing DPI related. What say you, Chris? Do you have anything Mac at all that you can look at that and say, hey guys, we got an issue here. These aren't showing up as Mac options. And maybe, because I'm not a Mac user, I'm not an Apple user, it may be that this enabling the DPI and scaling and might be a Windows problem. And that's why it's only in the Windows version. What do you think, Chris? And Chris says, no, all of his are Windows. So maybe this scaling for the DPI and rounding of the DPI may be something they had to do for a version. And Sharon says that's on that. Yeah, it's a Windows problem. So yeah, so Miss Melissa, yeah, you don't have that option. So maybe there is an issue. Obviously there is, because you're not getting yours to dock correctly. And I'm guessing, Miss Melissa, did yours dock correctly before you went to 2.0? Were you using version 1.7 and they did dock correctly? Now that you've gone to 2.0, they're not docking correctly. So whatever the bug was that they had to fix for Windows, that's a resolution issue by creating these scaling and rounding, is now prominent or existing in Mac. Speculation. I'm not a coder. Don't know nothing about Mac. Only apples I like are covered in caramel and nuts. Caramel coating, a couple of nuts crushed. Granny Smith apple. Caramel coated Granny Smith apple. That's the only thing Apple related I want to talk about. So yeah, unfortunately, that Mac issue might be something that needs to be brought to the attention of Lightburn support. I'm curious, Sharon, you have a MacBook Air. And then Chris says, Melissa, it will be the native resolution of your graphics chip that may need changing. And she says, it used to stick. Now when I try to move a window to the top right, it wants to expand across the entire top. Yeah, it used to work correctly. Yeah. Sharon says, try making your boxes, cuts, layers, etc. And let's see. And I had to make bigger. Yeah, I don't follow that one, Sharon. Try making your boxes, and I had to make bigger. Sharon said, each time I open Lightburn, I have to literally open the window tab and add all of them each again. Yeah, that would be frustrating. And I'm not much help on Mac at all. I don't have any experience with it. Can't tell you one way or the other. I'm just thinking. Seeing smoke. Yeah. No. Oh, can she do a set to default? John, that's a good suggestion. So Miss Melissa, just for giggles, if it's not, if in fact, try this just for the heck of it. Try this. Let's see, what did Chris say? Chris says, when you open, go to window, and the top will be, yes, that's what I was getting ready to say. Close, if you're not in the job or anything, do anything right now, close Lightburn. And then when you close Lightburn, go to the window menu, and the very first one, reset to default layout. So close Lightburn, open it back up, go to window, click on reset to default. Then once you've done that, immediately close Lightburn. Then open Lightburn back up and see if it opens stuff up exactly like it was in the default settings. See if it saves it. did that update the preference and see what happens. Yeah, and we're 2.5 hours, and you have not experienced this yet, Melissa, and I don't really ever want to do it again. But if there's people that need it, we do it. I have done 5-hour live streams before. As long as people's got problems and questions, and we can try and figure it out and work it out, that's what we're here for. Yes, that's what we want to hear. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Excellent. And we need to give I got a cookie coming to John. You got a cardboard cookie coming to John because he thought of that before anybody else did, and then Chris come up with it right behind him. And yeah, that's what's great about this, you know. And how much did that cost you, Melissa? You know, that information didn't cost you a thing. You didn't anybody, and there are going to be more and more popping up out there that's paid. You know, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. Yeah, Bob was there 5 hours live streaming. Woo! I don't know if you were there the whole time. You might have come and gone, come and gone, coming and gone, but you might have been there the whole time. Yeah, this the Hobo. I am proud to say that the Hobo Nation consists of some of the best group of people involved in the laser community, and a lot of it's all overlapping. You know, and it's funny right now. I joke about this. I joke. Yeah, and Bob says he was here for the whole 5 hours. Yeah, it's a big thumbs up and big to everybody there. Chris says, mates rates are $1 per hour. Bills in the mail, Miss Melissa. And Steve was there for 5 hours. I forgot what I was going to say, but this is good. It's good. It's good to be able to help one another out. It's good to help one another out. And speaking of that, Chris, we're not going to discuss it here tonight. John and Carl was there. Yep. We can keep going. I still have 2 hours to wait before the wife gets back on. I know what I was going to joke about. Yeah. Right now, Chris is here in this live stream contributing and helping out, but he's active and involved in 4 other live streams right now. He never sleeps. He's always online, and he's in every group all the time. Incredible capabilities. That's how he's able to do it. Y'all notice how he's been a little bit jacked up tonight? That's how he's able to be in 15 places at once. All right. All right, we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it. We got that. I'm glad we got that worked out for you, Miss Melissa. And I will reach out to the folks that, because I went longer than I wanted to tonight. I thought I was gonna be able to get. I had another surprise illusion, and I was really stupid. I already had it done, and I said, you know what? I was going to have it sitting aside and bring it up and show it to you, but I ended up deleting it instead of keeping it because I wanted to create it and not even show it to you. But we'll do that in another one because I plan on doing that as an inlay as well. It's a great engraving, but it'll be an awesome inlay too. So we'll do that another. Oh, and Chris, I need to pick your brain about the conversion. No, this is not. This is Bojangles, and it's Mountain Dew. This is my coffee. Here in the United States, our Mountain Dew is banned in most parts of the world because of how ridiculously unhealthy it is. All the different dyes and colors and chemicals that they use to create our Mountain Dew is nothing like the stuff. If they've got Mountain Dew somewhere else, it ain't the same stuff. And this is that's my RC is not great for you, but that's terrible for you. But that's what keeps me jacked up. And Melissa says, Chris is very informative, and so are you and everyone in this group. Thank you, community. Well, okay. Chris says, I can't find the conversion tool I use. Can't remember the name. So hard to search backups. Okay. And Bob says, used to live on Baja Blast. Yeah, I never liked I made the mistake of doing monsters. Oh, them. Mm-mm. No. Really bad stuff. Really bad stuff. And Kevin's got a squirrel. Kevin says, every time I open Lightburn 2.0.03, I have to set the speed setting under the move tab to do any framing. Really? Even after you set it? Oh, you know what? Well, if you set it, I don't have that issue. I don't know if they still make Jolt. I think I might have seen it. I don't know if they still make it or not. I would think, Chris, that in fact, or Kevin, try doing two different things. One, close Lightburn, open it up, set your move speed, close it immediately, open it back up, and see if it's been corrected. And did it save that? If it didn't, oh, you know what? What? Hold on. Hold that thought. Chris, do they not have it anymore? See, there's I thought there used to be, there's that then. Do they not have a default framing speed or a default move speed in the settings? Thought they used to. I mean, the device settings, there's nothing there. Basic settings. I've got my white space scan. Laser on and framing. I don't see anything about move speed. They move some settings to different menus. I'm still finding some additional settings. Here we go. Additional settings: maximum speed, cuts, engraves, rapid speed, corner actually moving, no framing. So there used to be a default framing speed, I thought. Let's see, editor settings, units and grids, display, import, export, no. Laser, move. And that's where in the move tab is where you're setting it, right? Let's see here. Everyone is slowly asking questions to try and stretch it. And I'm not sure what you were just kidding about. Additional, I missed something in there somewhere, Melissa. I'm guessing. Well, you know what? I'm guessing and assuming. You know what happens when you assume? So in the move tab is where you have your move speed, and that's your framing speed, right? So are you coming in here and setting this to your framing speed? And then once that's set, close Lightburn. In fact, let's just try that. Right now I'm at 6,000. Let's put this at 5,000. Tab it out and make sure it's in there, and close Lightburn. Open Lightburn back up. And let's see if mine's back to, yeah, mine's back to 5,000, not at 6,000. So now let's put it 8,000 and close Lightburn. Open Lightburn back up. And I'm back to 8,000. So if you're setting it there and then closing Lightburn with that setting, that's the way it should be opening back up. It shouldn't be defaulting back to something else. Shouldn't be. Y'all cut it out. Let's keep this another. No, cut it out. Cut it out. Keep in mind now, because I'm getting ready to start having to do 2 of these every Saturday. And you don't want 5 hours of laser and then 5 hours of CNC. I don't want 5 hours of laser and CNC. 5 hours for fun. You just bad. You just bad. What's a good power setting for the fire button? As low as possible. You don't want to have it strong enough that you might accidentally mark your material, but different lasers are going to require a different amount of power to even make the laser ignite or fire. And I've got mine set at 2.5%. And depending on what your power, a 30-watt laser at 2.5%, yes, I ain't no good at math. I ain't gonna figure it out. But at 2.5% on a 30-watt or a 40-watt module is going to be close to a minimum marking power on a 10-watt. So, but you want it as low as possible, and the laser still fire. And that's what I did with my laser. Was I set it at 1 and told it, and with the lid closed, tell it to fire. And if you don't see that laser come on, set it at 1.5, tell it to fire. If you don't see it come on, tell it 2, fire. And I found mine, I had to be at 2.5% in order to make it fire. And that was as slow as I could get it. If you go 5 + 5, I'll miss too many other lives. Yeah, we won't be doing that. Yeah, and I thought I wanted to get into 3D printing, Chicago Bob, but I really like woodworking. I like working with wood, and I'm actually going to enjoy the CNC more than I have lasers, because I like that. I like working with real wood. This MDF and the plywood and all that, it's all good. It's great, but I like real wood. Hobo with wood. I like it. I like this is good hard wood. What's a good speed to use with the what's a good speed to use with the power button? Don't know what you're talking about there now. What speed to use with the move button? Is that what you mean? Yeah, no 3 times on Saturday. No. Ooh, we could do no. We could do 1 diode 1 CO2 1 CNC and 3. Yeah, we could just stay live. And just stay live and say, okay, Changing gears. Let's go to CNC. Get out your books for CNC. Okay, moving on to the next chapter. No, we're not doing that. Not doing that. The fire speed. There ain't no fire. Fire power is what we were talking about. Fire. I don't know what you mean by fire speed. What you talking about? I mean, if I go over here, here's my fire button. Here's the power that I need to set for my fire button. But what speed are you talking about? If you're talking about up here, that's your move and framing speed. Carl, what exactly is it you're referring to as fire speed? Which one of these in between? Give me a relation of what you're referring to. Let's see. Slow enough where you can see it frame. Okay. The speed you would use with the fire button. The move speed, I uh uh yeah. If you're talking about how fast do I want this to frame with when it's fired, if I've got to do something that's 10 millimeters, I got to do a little framing of a little bitty piece, continuous framing, turn that on. Turn on continuous framing. And that way, if it's just a little bitty piece, it's going to frame and frame and frame and frame and frame and frame and frame until you tell it to stop framing. And that way, if you've got it set at 4,000 millimeters a minute, it's going to frame, because a small piece, even if you've got it at 500 millimeters a minute, and it's a small piece, it's going to, if you don't have continuous framing on, it's going to frame and done. You're like, what? I didn't see where was that? Frame, done. Continuous framing, turn that on, and it's just going to sit there and frame whatever you're doing until you say, okay, done. I'm done with that. And then you can set your, because this, for me, the smaller the piece that I'm needing to frame, the more I need it to frame. Either the slower it needs to go, or the more times I need to see it to make sure I got everything. But if it's a 300 by 300 piece, and I can see that once I've gotten halfway around that fourth side, that's it. I already know it's good, and so that could be done relatively quick, and I'm done one time. So I don't think there's like any one optimal speed. I think the biggest trick would be to use continuous framing at a moderate speed, regardless what the size is. And that way, if it's something really small, it's just going to keep framing until you click it to go away. Yeah, when you frame with the fire button on, yeah, it doesn't matter if the fire button's on, because if you've got this fire set at its lowest possible setting, it doesn't matter about the speed. Is if you get it to where you can see it, fired or not fired, the speed needs to be. I mean, that's the whole reason you're firing it, right? Is so you can see where the laser is at. And if it's a great big piece, then if it's a great big piece that you're needing to frame, and you've got your move tab at 1,000 millimeters a minute, but if it's a little bitty piece at 1,000 millimeters a minute, it's done. So the speed is not always going to be the same depending on what your needs are. You can set that. It's the fact that the fire's lasered, the speed is irrelevant. I don't know if that's making sense to you or not. You don't want it. I mean, even at 2 or 2.5% at its lowest possible power to fire, I think even if you put it at like 1 millimeter a minute, I don't think it's going to mark your material because it's not enough power to do anything. Kevin, export your bubbles to a thumb drive, then reload it. Bubbles? Okay. Don't know what you got there. Y'all must be doing some of the good stuff together. All right. 3 hours. Bundles. Yeah, y'all on that good stuff tonight. All right. We're wrapping it. Yep. I'm right there with you, Melissa. I am done. Oh, you're leaving for the ocean? Which, well, I'm guessing you're going to the Atlantic. Where are you headed? You're going, which part? You know, because some places up there in New England, they got shut down because all the fecal matter in the water. And then if you're going down to Dirty Myrtle, that's just Dirty Myrtle. Where will you be enjoying the East Coast? Well, isn't it? I thought you were a little closer to North Carolina, but isn't there? And I don't know exactly where, but there's not too up through there. You've seen all that, right? Where they got all the beaches and everything shut down because of all the fecal matter in the ocean. It's pathetic. Pathetic. So be sure and check the water before you look for any indications that you shouldn't be in there before you jump in there. But thank you, Melissa, for being here. Thank you for your participation tonight. Thank you for your gift tonight. It was greatly appreciated. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Be sure you're subscribed to the new channel, Hobo with Wood Chips. Even if you don't hit the notification bell. Oh, you haven't seen that? So you haven't seen the news where they've shut down all the beaches because, and I'm not making it up. It's up in New England that just because. Let's see here. Beaches closed due to bacteria. And you said Maryland. Beaches were closed to bacteria, E. coli, fecal contamination. Let's see which ones, where. Let's see. Hundreds of beaches closed. Then this one says dozens of beaches closed on the East Coast. I would check, double check, and make sure because it's pretty widespread up through there. When you said about the M7, does the plug to the pump have to be plugged into the rollie somewhere? Well, you've got the barrel. You've got the 4mm barrel jack that plugs into the back of the machine. That's where you get your power for the air pump on the rollie because you don't have a power brick. Yeah. The barrel plug has to be plugged into the rollie, and then you got the air supply coming out going to the top of the machine. But yeah. Yeah, you need to look into that. And you have a good night and be safe. Safe travels. But if you're still on there, so I ain't making it up. Right here it is. Beaches closed all up and down the eastern seaboard. Beach closed. Dozens of beaches closed. Dozens of beaches closed, and it's all up in the New England area. All right. How does the pump come on? Let's see. Well, the Lightburn commands the pump to come on through the board. When you said the M7 said that about the M7, does the plug to the pump have to be plugged into the Rolly somewhere? Yeah, I don't know if maybe you don't. Do you have a Rolly? If you've got a Rolly, because it works a little different. The other lasers I've got, it's the same air pump, but they've got a power brick that you plug into a receptacle and it's on. Some of them have variable assist, and a lot of those you cannot control. It's either on or it's off. You control it with that dial. But with the Rolly, you can use the M7 command to power the air assist on or off. And that's done through the control board of the laser. That in combination with the programming within Lightburn. Did they have problems with their Cubicos too? Who? What you talking about, Willis? Did who have problems with what Cubicos? Explain yourself, Terry. How does the pump come on? The pump's plugged in and waiting for the power signal from Lightburn to tell it to come on. Yeah, this is send me a quick link. Who are you talking to? Oh, you talking about to come in here? I don't know if I trust you to come in here. Are you sober? And by sober, I mean, he's not like he's on the good stuff. He's under doctor care. Copy. Message. Paste. And you've been sending me messages. All right. And he says we fixed his. He's all right. Let me get back over here. Turn that off. Are you dressed? All right. I don't have you added yet. Hold on a second. Hold on. I just see a half naked man sitting in the green room, and I just want to make sure you're okay. Okay. All right. At the stage.
Okay. So excuse me for not having a shirt on, but I got bandages all over my back. I had that same issue with, if you remember, Steve, you helped me with it.
Okay.
Remember my stuff was disappearing? My move settings from the move tab. You need bitter drugs. I was working on stuff, and then my move settings were disappearing, and I was getting an error message saying that nothing was set and it wouldn't move. So we had to set it. You had yours set at 13,000 or some baloney. We set it. It worked. And then what I did was I exported the preferences, then shut it down and reloaded the preferences and solved the problem.
Yeah, I don't, and I wished and y'all, and I'm not on any drugs. This is just the stroke riddle brain. I can't retain a lot of stuff, and I don't remember that. at all.
That was last week before my surgery.
Seriously, last week.
Yes, sir.
And I have no recollection of that at all.
And if you remember, we didn't want to talk too loud because of your
I remember talking with you, but I don't remember that part at all. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. It's when we were working on that other project of mine for my wife.
I remember that.
Yeah, same time.
But I don't remember move issues.
Same time. So anyway, the reason I wanted to come on and tell everybody is that if you're having issues, even after an update, export all of your preferences. Choose everything that they have to offer to export as a preference, put it on a thumb drive, shut your Lightburn down, and then reload it. And it will solve 99.9% of the problems. And I got that straight from Lightburn.
So save all your preferences before you update?
Yeah, so if you go to File, and you'll see import preferences and export preferences.
But export before you update.
Yep. No, after. Yes, before you update.
Before you update.
Right. And then when you update, if you have any issues, just import that preference file from your thumb drive, and you'll go right back to where you were.
Yeah. Unfortunately, for those who have already updated, they don't have those backup preferences unless Lightburn saves preferences somewhere.
Right, but if they can fix those, issues like we did, you can still export it, and that way you have a backup.
Yeah. And what's let's see here. What I thought I was seeing Chris say. Yeah, Chris. I have the same problem. My memory is like one of those round things with holes in.
Yeah.
But
that's my solution.
Yeah, and that's not a bad suggestion. Right now, if your Lightburn works the way you want it to, save your preferences before you update.
I do it quarterly.
And then when you update, if you're having problems, you can always import your previous preferences.
Yeah, I do it quarterly. If you want to do it sooner, you certainly can, depending on how much you're messing with preferences. But that's what I do.
Chris says they still have preferences from every time Lightburn saves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and for that reason, as much as they're trying to do well, it doesn't always work.
Yeah. All righty. And I'm going to get back over here. Who was it? What was it? See, got that. Carl. So it plugs into the MK1. All right. I think it's on all of it, and I'm gonna let you run, brother.
All right, sir.
Because you flashing a lot of people. You looking sexy, baby. So Carl, on the air assist with the MK1, MK2s, it plugs in to the back left corner of the laser. You've got a barrel plug, 4 millimeter. I think it's 4 millimeter barrel plug. It plugs into the back corner. And that's where the power comes out of the control board to the air assist pump. Then in Lightburn, when you have in your cuts and layers tool or your settings, right here, you can turn air on or turn air off. And with that turned on, the air assist is going to be told, the air pump is told to turn on when this gets sent to the job. So if this is an engraving and I don't want the air assist, but then this is on a cut layer and I do want it to air assist, I can have the air off while it engraves and the air on while it cuts. But and I'm sure Rolly's not the only one that has the ability to control the air assist through Lightburn. It's the first laser that I've got that does that. First diode that I've had that'll do that. But there's no separate power brick. That barrel plugs into the laser to get your power, and that's how it is controlled through the control board. And Chuck says, "Hey, Chuck, that feature was added starting with the MK2. It's not available with the MK1. I've got the MK1 and I've got it over there. It's buried, but I don't remember having a separate power brick for the MK1. You've still got the same plug." Oh, but you know what though? I see it now. Okay. So yes, there is a power brick. All right, can I get it over here? Yeah, there. The MK1's got a power brick on it for the air supply. The MK2 does not. And the MK2XW does not. I hadn't used that one in a long time. Yeah. Man, y'all killing me here. Yeah. So the plug is on the power supply. There, I don't know which one you're referring to now, Carl. The MK1 or MK. I don't have an MK1. That's the MK2. I've got an MK2 and an MK2XW. I didn't want to move all this, but that's crazy. No, I lied to you. They do both have power bricks. I've got the MK2 and the MK2XW. They both have power bricks on them. but the air assist is not on all the time with the MK2 or the MK2XW unless you've powered it on through Lightburn. Still have my MK1 with the 20-watt upgrade, and I have to turn my air pump on manually when cutting and engraving. Yeah, with the MK1, I gave away my, I think, no, I don't think. Leo set us all up with the MK1s. And when the MK2 came out, we were all going to give away our MK1s. I gave away mine. Patrick gave away his. Somebody else didn't. We were all going to give them away on the channel to give them, but somebody else gave it to somebody supposedly that they knew. Like, none of the viewers got it. We got the MK2s, and I don't remember the MK1 if it was controllable through Lightburn or not. That was, like I said, I don't remember what I just did with Craig last week, so my bad. Yeah. Which laser, Carl, if you said, I don't remember, I've never seen you tell me which laser are you using. If you mentioned it, I haven't seen it. I forget sometimes, and when it cuts, it really leaves a really black cuts. Okay, you're using the MK1 with what laser? I want to know what we can do about that little area. I just need to clean up, Miss Melissa. I just need to clean up. This is all good stuff. This is not waste. These are not skeletons. This is good meat. These are all of my, these are, as I pull material off the laser that's got good wood on it, I just, stack it right there next to my laser. So the next time it's right there, but I end up just stacking too much and stacking too much and stacking. I just need to clean up. I need to clean up. Oh, I need to clean up. That's what I need to do. And by the way, the ocean is clear for bacteria, so I'll be building sandcastles for the next. Well, that's as far as I get when I go to devotion. I like to do sand sculptures. I don't care the first thing about getting in that water. I don't care nothing about it. I didn't care about it before Jaws come out, but after Jaws come out, I definitely don't want to get in that water. I have no desire whatsoever. And funny story. As a teenager, I was probably 16 or 17 years old because it was the first time I drove to the beach. Parked the cars, parked in the parking garage, and before we even went to the room, I ran straight from the truck straight to the ocean. Got in the ocean, was flopping around having a grand old time. And there was a woman, she probably wasn't 5 yards away from me. We were all partying. Something brushed up against my leg. And it wasn't no little something just brushed up against something. There's a good size something brushed up because it was a long brush against the leg. I had one of them little 6x4 inflatable floats. I was doing my best impression of Jesus as I could do. I was trying my best to walk on water. I was trying to get up on top of that thing, trying to stand on that thing like a surfboard. I must have been looking like a complete idiot. That woman was standing there looking at me. She said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Something touched my leg." She said, "Son, you ain't living right." said, what? And she said, if you was living right, you wouldn't worry about anything touching your leg. I said, living right or not, I can't see it. I don't know what that was. You know, it could have been I don't know if it could have been I don't know what it was, but it wasn't no little bitty old fish. It was too long of a graze to be a little bitty fish. And I was like, nah, nope. And that same trip, that exact same trip, in fact, not only that same trip, that same day, within the next 2 hours, I got out of the water, went up to the room, unloaded a truck, and we were probably on about the 15th floor. Went out on the balcony because sirens were going off like crazy. There was a shark attack right there in front of our resort, right there in the water where I was at. I don't know if it was a shark that touched me or not, but within a couple hours of me getting out of the water, there was a shark attack right there. And I said, okay, done. There's a shark attack again, either later that day or the next day. I never went back in that water again the whole time we were on that trip. And I don't know that I've gotten the water over my ankles since then. I don't get no water ocean. No, sir. No, ma'am. Ain't doing it. Put exclamation points in front of your comments if you want me. Yeah. Yeah. I see them. Oh, wait a minute. What is this? We can chat about that. You need to move around. Oh, yeah. I don't move. Have you seen when I stand up? Have you seen the shape I'm in? It's a shape. It's round. I don't move a lot. Didn't you hear the bacteria? No, it's not because of all the windmills. It's because of all of the water treatment plants that are dumping into the ocean. And they showed them. There's a dozen water treatment plants right around. And I don't know if it was around the Chesapeake Bay area, somewhere up there. There's like a dozen water treatment plants that are just dumping practical raw sewage practically into the ocean, and the bacteria levels were sky high. Well then. Well then. Yes, yes. Well then. I lived on the river for 7 years. I wished it wasn't landlocked. I was stuck between two dams, but I was able to travel a pretty good distance on the lake that I was on. But I lived on a boat for 7 years, freshwater. So yeah, I know all about them water snakes. No, thank you. I don't like them either. Good night. I have to go pick up the wife. Have a good one. Travel safe. Needs a good office swivel chair. There ain't room to put a swivel chair. I got so much junk, I don't even know where my stuff's at anymore. I got about 2.5 feet between this table and that table. I ain't got room for anything else. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the windmills. I'm not because they kill birds, but I think it's a bunch of hype. I mean, Texas was, and y'all doing this shit on purpose. Y'all doing this on purpose. Texas had that big brownout when it got real cold because it was too cold to turn the windmills. Everything, all the aluminum, everything just gelled up and gummed up and just quit turning. And half of Texas went dark because they can't operate in extreme cold. And for the not recyclable, they're finding ways to try and recycle them, but they're taking these things down. They can't recycle them. They're taking them, having to chop them up, carry them up, bury them. The cost of production, the petroleum that's required to make them, the damage they do to the ecosystem. It ain't a fair trade. That's all a part of the green joke. I'm with you about not needing them and they're not being practical, but that's not why the beaches were closed. If I had a double decker desk, which they make, then I'd have to stand up, which we don't want to do because that's what they call them standing desks, right? And we don't want to stand. And Carl says upgraded to the 20 watt. Now I'll tell you what, Carl. This one is a 1030 watt. I don't use my 30 watt. If it's something that I'm cutting out, roughing out for the first time, and I just want to do some test fitting, and I'm not really worried about fit and finish and all that, I'll do a 30 watt and cut it pretty quick. But I like my 10 watt for engraving, and I like the kerf size of the 10 watt for my cutting. Do I have to do more passes, and does it take longer? Yeah. Have I done a complete 180 from when I had my first laser that was a 10 watt, and I kept thinking, I need more power. I was Tim the Toolman Taylor. More power, more power, more power. Turns out more power is not what I like. It doesn't give me the fit finish, and it doesn't cut as clean. I've also found that if you have any imperfections in your laser module lens at all, if it's starting to get any little stars or any little fractals going on in there, or if there's anything going on with your laser lens itself, and you're using the 20 watt or the 30 watt, your spot size is getting even bigger because of it breaking up that beam. And the larger the spot size, the bigger and thicker and blacker the cut line gets. And you said, I use the 10 watt when I engrave. I use the 10 watt when I engrave, when I cut, when I do everything. My 30 watt leaves a big black line, and I don't like it. I don't like how sooty and black it gets. And I don't like the size of the kerf. You can speed it up and do more revolutions to help cut down on that burning. It's all about getting the right settings. But even if I get the where I don't have as much burning going on, I don't like the large kerf of the 30 watt. That's why when I get to order my modules, if they're available, I'm getting two 1020 watts, 1020s, not 1030s. Wind turbines required to operate without needing replacement parts for 117 years to replace carbon generated. Oh, they need to operate without replacement parts for 117 years to replace the carbon generated in building, installing, and running. Yeah, it's a no gain. They are there to make people feel good about themselves, and but they have no idea of the large picture. They're a joke. I was making fun of the whole thing about windmills. They don't kill whales as far as birds, like 23,000. Yeah, but cats killed closer to a man. They're not practical. They're not practical. Yeah, I don't have any experience with solar panels. All right, I'm calling it. Well, he's got a, and I say he, they. I don't know. I don't know what your pronoun is, and I'm not being funny. I don't know if you're he or she. Uh, so you're pro. My CNC. You don't want my CNC. You want my CO2. No, we're not doing this. All right. I'm going to bed. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to night night. Thank each of you. Thank every one of you. Y'all all have a good evening. Have a good weekend. To next video, the big CNC. Now, the big CNC is an entirely different room. It ain't even in here occupying space. So you could have done the other illusion. Oh, yes, I could have. I could have. No, the big CNC is in the other room. It's not taking up any space in here. So I'm sure you got a big CNC, Jack, don't you? It's not a big one. It's just an X carve. It's not like a 4x8 big full size. Yeah, this is just the X carve. I think you can do 48 by 48 on it, I think. I can't remember. It's been so long. It's got dust on it, but not sawdust, not the good kind. But it's the X carve. The only problem with me trying to learn to do the CNC with that one would, it's hard to set up. It's not as big as it is, it's hard to set. Yours is 30 by 30. All right. And I can't remember. I was thinking this one was bigger than that, but it's made for big material. So there's nowhere to clamp down little bitty pieces. And it's I think it's a 1/4 inch spindle, I think. And you can get collets to break it down to the little smaller, the 1/8 inch. But everything about it is big. It's big. It's big. And so you waste a lot of material when you screw up. So that's the reason I'm so excited about the Cubiko is it's so small. You can learn all the techniques and do some really, really cool stuff with it. And when I get my IDC Woodcraft bits, and I'm going to do those optical illusions we just did tonight in here, inlaid with maple. It's going to be so cool. So cool. And to learn to do that in here on this little thing, and it's all about the right tool. Even once I learn and I've got everything done, this Cubiko would be, if I'm going to do little small inlays on a little 4-inch coaster, a whole lot easier to do it on this than it is to do it on that big old X carve. Show us the other one, the X carve. I don't have a camera in that room. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's go back here. 4x4. Because I'm pretty sure I can do 48 by 48 on mine. And that's the two options here: is 4x2 and 4x4. And I'm 99. I know it's not that, but I'm pretty sure I can do 4x4 because the first and only thing successful I did, I think, was a 36-inch name. Oh, the other illusion. You just trying to keep me on here. I will bring you some clamps and set that spoil board up. You know, on the big one. What time is it? Oh, it's 12:30 in the morning. It's going on 1 o'clock. Yeah, well, it's going to be a while before I go in there and turn that big one on. What's the bed? The working size of the Cubiko, I think, is 150 by 115. Like I said, it's what is that? It's about the size. It's a little bigger than it's not 5x7, and it's not a postcard. Like I said, it's bigger than this, but not by much. 100. Pretty sure it's 115 mil by 150 by 115, I think. And Carl said, yeah, and it might say 150 by 110 on their site, but I think when you read the controller, I think it comes in at like 150 by 115, something like that. Something about them both. I ain't sure what. All right. Y'all, I'm going to bed. Y'all have a good night. Have a great weekend. And thank y'all for hanging out. Be sure, the 28 of you that's still here, subscribe to that other channel. I'm going to do the next video will be, and I was hoping that Chris had some information for me on that conversion or how he did the conversion. And we might get together tomorrow or Monday or sometime, Chris, and talk about how you did what you did. But I also don't know that I did import that ICD Woodcraft file you sent me, but I'm not going to have that many bits. Not now. I might eventually, but right now I'm only going to have about 12 or 14 bits. And I don't want to look through that entire list of all those to find mine. And I figured out a way how I can create different folders and have, there's the complete list. And then I'm going to set up my VBits, my end, my, and then I can be able to click on that folder and then have those specific ones brought into that folder. Where are you at, Renee? Your name implies that you've been partaking. Where are you at? Physically, where geographically, where are you at? Milwaukee. Okay. Yeah, I spent a little time up there. I traveled all the way up through Wisconsin, went all the way up to Door County, back down through Door County and back all the way up into the UP. Stayed in the UP until they had their first frost warning, and then come back across the bridge and back down around Lake Michigan through Michigan, went over to the sand dunes. Those are impressive. In fact, when I was there is when I forget what they call it. Duraco. Yeah, that's it. A Duraco went through Milwaukee, and a couple of buildings in downtown Milwaukee lost the roofs and all that good stuff. Yeah, Door County was beautiful. I understand I couldn't afford to breathe there for too much longer. I don't think anything up there is cheap. The oxygen was quite high. Uh, but beautiful, beautiful country. There was one place in Door County, 99% sure it's Door County. There was a lighthouse that was out on a small island. You couldn't get there in your vehicle. And they did tours, I guess, at certain times of the year that they had tractors, high riding tractors, big, tall, that would drive across and out to there and take you out there to visit water. I never would have guessed that the water was that crystal clear. The poor dog, she hates water, hates it with a passion. She was out there and she was walking around, and walked right out in that water. She was moving at a good pace, and she was, halfway up her legs with water because she didn't even see the water. It was that crystal clear. She did not realize it was water. It was crazy. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I use that library to set up my bits. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Yep. Give the dates again for the giveaways before you call it. 9/27. 9/27. So not this is the 14th, 7. It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I think the 29 of you guys that are still here, y'all know more about what's going on than I do. Yeah, 2 weeks. We're giving away the CNC. All right. Same time for both? No. I'm only going to give away one of them on the 27th, and it's going to be the nice one. I'm going to give away the full pack on the nice one. It'll be on this channel 2 weeks from now at 9 p.m. So spread the news, spread the word. Even though you don't want to, the more people that know about it, the less chance you have of winning. But I might throw a monkey wrench in there. I might say we got to have X number of viewers before I even do the giveaway. Depends on what we have. If we've got people who are competing with us for viewers, I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. I can't do anything about that. All I can do is just do me. All right. Y'all push me to 4 hours. All right. I say it should go what? To the loyal viewers? Yeah. Do it now. Your giveaway, your rules. Yeah. Yeah, and you want to be subscribed to the other channel. And if you're wanting to learn about CNCs and you want that chance to win that one, you need to be subscribed to that other channel. And I'll be doing it. I know that I'm going to do it on a live stream, and it'll be on a live stream on the other channel. So that means no more of these. No more of these. Y'all keeping me going forever and ever and ever. Because if I'm doing a laser show at 3, and then I need to turn around and do another one, a CNC at 9, I don't need to be doing 4 or 5 hours at 3, from 3 to 8, and then turn around and an hour later and start doing a CNC. Your giveaway is for both of those CNCs. No. No, I'm only doing one giveaway at 9 o'clock on the 27th on this channel for one of the CNCs. Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, I got some surprises. The second one was a big surprise. The second one was a big surprise for me. Uh, the few of you, if you haven't watched the uh, 10-minute video on the other channel about the dust shoe, you need to watch it. It's funny. But if you're going to get a Cubiko, you need to know this because it's not in the instructions anywhere. And I just about tore my machine all to pieces. I was lucky that it just bound up and shut down. But it's not in the instructions. And a novice user who had no idea that what happened could have happened would happen, the blame lays on them because it's not in the instructions. And so when I informed them about it, I told them, I said, yeah, I lost my favorite pair of pants. I got a big old stain in my chair and I can't get the smell out of it. I would like it if you would buy me a new chair and a replacement pair of pants. If you won't do that, send me another machine to give away. And they gave me a new machine, but they wouldn't buy me a pair of pants. All right. Buenas noches. No. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. It's good morning, boys and girls. Good morning. Yeah, it's hard because they don't know what size bits you will use. It's not even so much about that as it is, I can see that the shoe is made for various bits and bit sizes, but there was no disclaimer in the instructions at all about needing to possibly modify. Nowhere in the installation instructions. There is information on the website. I'm not looking at the website when I'm putting it together. I'm reading the instructions when I'm putting it together. So, and then they said, well, we made a new video. I said, that's okay. I said, I'm not watching videos when I'm putting it together. You sent me a box with the tool in it, and I got the instructions out, and I look at it, and I follow the instructions, and then I about break my machine. So, you know, it should be in the instructions. And I do understand that, you know, you don't want to make 4 different part numbers, one for the Cubiko that uses small little one, and then one for this that uses bigger, and then one for this. One shoe fits all with modification. But like I said, and several people commented that, well, that's just common knowledge. Not that somebody don't know what they're doing. Common knowledge, you know, if you have no knowledge of CNCs, then you don't have common knowledge. You don't have nothing. You have no knowledge of it. Yes, 9 p.m. 27th. That's when the live stream will start. But y'all might keep me going for 4 or 5 hours, and it might not be given away until 5 hours. It might not be until 2 a.m. the next day before it's ever given away if y'all keep me going. If there's a video, they should have it on a USB with the machine. Well, this is this. This is what it's an accessory. It don't come with the machine. This is just a dust shoe that attaches with magnets. You got a plate here that bolts to the Cubiko, and then this just magnetically sticks to the Cubiko, and you got your vacuum up here, and it cleans up. Problem is how long the bristles are for the brush. The bristles on this brush originally were twice that long. And with the Cubiko, being that I was using some of the small V bits, it was compressing that brush enough that some of the bristles were being pushed underneath it, and the bit was catching, and it called it good one time. Ripped everything off, pulled it apart, slammed it in the machine, bound the machine up. So I said, well, it's common knowledge you need to trim those off so that they're flush with your material whenever you're. Again, there ain't no such thing as common knowledge when you don't have any knowledge about it at all. So it needed to be in the instructions for the installation of this. Oh, you need to watch the video. I can tell you what happened, but you want to be entertained, go watch that video. It's a funny video. I did it as more of a PSA and as a way to make people go and hopefully find it funny enough that they're going to watch that video, even though they don't even have a Cubiko. Somebody just says, hey man, watch this. So it's a funny video. You'll enjoy it, even though you know what's going on now. All right. I'm not sucking it up. I'm turning it off. Y'all have a good day, good night, whatever. Funny enough works for remembering details. All right. Later, ladies and germs. But I got a good feeling all the ladies are already long gone to bed. We're probably just a whole bunch of idiots hanging around here right now. So again, bye. Say it. Bye. Bye.